Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, and participants. It is a great privilege to welcome you all to the significant occasion, the inaugural of World Glaciers Day, celebrated alongside World Water Day. This event marks a crucial step in raising awareness about the state of our planet's glaciers and the urgent need for water conservation. Today's session is proudly hosted by the Glaciers team in collaboration with UNESCO. Special acknowledgement to Kerala Public Schools, whose proposal was accepted and shortlisted in the online site event category, an achievement that highlights their commitment to global climate action. We are honored to have an outstanding panel of speakers joining us from across the world. Mr.Tuhin.A.Sinha, renowned author and national spokesperson for BJP India. Mr.Abhinav Srivastava, Deputy Commissioner, Ministry of Jal Shakti India. Dr. Purnima Voria, founder and CEO, National US Chamber of Commerce, USA, in conversation with Mr. Amit Sawhney, MD, Nippon Global Spain. Dr. Shimrit Maman, Senior Scientist, UN Spider RSO, Negev, Israel, in conversation with Dr. Ramya Nambudri, she is a glaciologist present in India. Ms. Anila Singh, BJP spokesperson and author, in conversation with Mrs. Lakshmi R, Academic Director, Kerala Public Schools, India. Mr. Rishi Kapoor, an AI researcher and entrepreneur, speaking on functional AI strategies. Mr. Ganesh Shanbag, engineering manager at Dialpad and a passionate ecologist. A case study will also be presented by the brilliant students of Kerala Public Schools. Through today's discussion, we aim to bridge science, policy, and action, reinforcing our collective responsibility towards environmental sustainability. Let's engage, learn, and commit to real change. Thank you. Let's begin. Now I would like to call upon our director, sir, Mr. Sharat Chandran, to address the gathering. Sir.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great to see all of you on the same page. We share the same kind of concern for planet Earth. But right now, we have almost 145 people joining and still growing. At the outset, I would like to thank Chief Sangeeta for facilitating this entire program. I would like to thank you for being the man Friday for this entire event. Saikat, yes, Saikat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I wholeheartedly welcome you to this grand global dialogue on the first ever International Glaciers Day 2025. See, right now, while I speak, while you're witnessing and we're deliberating, let me tell you, the cryosphere comprising the glaciers is melting at an unprecedented rate. It is said that by 2050, we shall have 70% of the glaciers completely off the surface of the earth. Before I give you a visual of that, it is also understood that if all the glaciers melt, we shall have almost 70 meters of sea level risen, which is almost like a 4-story building. And if I can give you a visual, it's like a tidal wave completely engulfing the coast. And coming back to 70% of the glacier melting, it would completely devastate, it would be catastrophic. It would completely engulf the coast. It would engulf the agricultural land, disrupt complete food and goods supply, disrupt trade and commerce. So what do? What we do is protect and save our natural resources, primarily the freshwater sources. Adopt sustainable practices, invest in your green and renewable energy, spread more awareness, and be a part of climate action in a very big way. While I talk about preservation of glaciers, it is also equally important that we save the groundwater. It is equally important that we tap the rainwater. In this regard, the government of India has been proactive, and in 2019, they floated a ministry called the Jal Shakti Ministry. which the function of this ministry is to save, to tap, to protect, and to provide. When I say provide, you would be happy to know that in the last 6 years, 19 crore functional tap drinking water has been supplied to 19 crore families. The impact is that 5.5 crore hours have been saved, where these women used to traverse to fetch water. Manpower hours have been saved. Apart from this, I understand 4.4 lakh crores children have been saved from dying because of the contamination in water and the waterborne diseases. Friends, in this regard, we have Mr. Abhinav from the ministry who shall be addressing you on this regard and telling you what they have done and what their expectations would be. We also have speakers, a gamut of speakers who shall be touching upon various subjects which impact climate action. Till the other day, I was under the impression that AI is a powerful tool that would kind of help mitigate climate change, but only to realize that AI could also be instrumental in speeding up global warming. So we have with us Mr. Rishi, who shall be touching on these topics and updating us on how AI could be used in sustainable ways. We have people across from the globe who shall touch upon policies, industrialists, sustainable ways of how to kind of go about, ensuring that the planet is served. What I would like to say is it is time that we all collaborate together and join hands and do what is required to save the planet. Industrialists should adopt sustainable measures. Corporates should invest in renewable energy. Educators should integrate climate change education in a very big way in the curriculum. Students like you should ensure that you demand from your elders to take action and be a part of it. And individuals like me and you should opt for intelligent and sustainable ways. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time we join hands, do what is required, make the desired impact, and be an agent of positive change and save planet Earth. Thank you very much. I hope you make the most of this entire deliberation and dialogue. Over to Chief Sangeeta.
Thank you, sir. Now, it is my privilege to introduce a visionary leader whose insights bridge policy, literature, and environmental advocacy. Mr.Tuhin.A.Sinha is a distinguished author, political commentator, and the national spokesperson of the BJP. His work has sparked national conversations on governance, sustainability, and climate resilience. Today, he shares his perspective on one of the most pressing issues of our time, glacier melting and its global consequence.
Tuhin.A.Sinha is a best-selling author, columnist, and politician. Presently, he is the national spokesperson of BJP. Tuhin-ji is among the most prolific Indian writers with a knack for experimenting with unorthodox genres. He is the author of the trilogy on India's unsung subaltern freedom fighters, The Legend of Birsa Munda, the Great Tribal Warriors of Bharat, and Sidhu Kanu. Tuhin's previous book, Modi's Northeast Story, is an anthology of 23 essays that document the transformation of India's northeastern states under PM Modi. His books traverse a wide range of subjects across both fiction and non-fiction genres. As a popular media voice of the BJP, Tuhin has been vocal and articulate on all recent political issues in his articles and on TV news debates. Welcome to our show, Mr. Tuhin.A.Sinha.
Thank you. Thank you, and it's an absolute pleasure being here.
I shall now introduce you to Mr. Sharat Chandran, the director, the visionary leader behind Kerala Public Schools. Under his leadership, Kerala Public Schools has not only upheld academic excellence, but has also instilled a strong sense of social and environmental responsibility in his students. Sustainability isn't just a concept here, it's a way of life reflected in initiatives like today's First World Glaciers Day and World Water Day. I'm sure today's discussion will further strengthen this commitment and inspire even greater action. Mr. Sinha, your book, Climate Action India, comes at a crucial time when climate change, water security, and the preservation of our national ecosystems are pressing global concerns. Given today's theme, I'd like to begin by asking what inspired you to write this book and how is today's India positioned towards climate change?
Well, good morning. As you mentioned, we are at a very crucial inflection point where the battle to save the climate, to save the environment is more important than ever before because of large-scale industrialization, because of massive commercialization, the real estate development which we are seeing all across. And as per the warnings issued by different meteorological um, organizations, there are many cities which in the next 100 years might get submerged in water if immediate action is not undertaken.
Absolutely.
At the same time, global warming is a very big issue. In February this year, probably most parts of India experienced its hottest February, and we are still, a couple of months away from the prime of summer. So global warming again becomes a very big issue. And similarly, all of, much of the global warming that we experience that is there in the world today has got to do with carbon emissions exceeding all safe limits. So I think all of these necessitate immediate action on the climate front. Thankfully, post 2014, when Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister, he has advocated a strong movement for climate action. He has given a very ambitious net zero carbon emission target for 2070. And obviously, there are milestones which need to be achieved before that by 2030, which is 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy, 50% of all our energy targets to be met through renewable energy, 45% reduction in our carbon intensity, 200 billion, if I'm get the figure right, massive reduction in carbon emissions in, by 2030. So all of these are going to be crucial catalysts in our larger journey ahead. And at the same time, it is very important to get students inducted into this theme as early as possible, because today there are vast careers in the climate space. Carbon offset industry is an upcoming industry. I think that is where Prime Minister Modi has played a very important role in marrying climate action to commerce, because till the time it becomes viable economically, till the time there are incentives attached to it, it is not enticing enough for the younger generation to embrace careers in it on a large scale. So today, renewable energy is one of the biggest sectors in our economy, and is one of the booming sectors of our economy, and is likely to contribute substantially to our GDP in the years to come. So all of these things have brought in a certain culture where we are discussing climate action. And, I'm just going in the throes of my thoughts. So maybe, a couple of questions might just get covered, which you may have for later, might just get covered in it.
Yes.
So, the reason why this book becomes very important is to democratize climate conversations. Climate conversation should not be confined to the COP summits, international summits, which we have. It should not be confined to politicians and world leaders. It needs to percolate down to every household, so that, on the dinner table, when parents are discussing issues with their children, school-going children, climate, is at the forefront of these discussions. That
Absolutely.
is where this book should play an important role, and that is where it should inspire future generation to be more proactively contributing to their bit to climate action.
I think yes, exactly. These are the thoughts that I was hoping to hear from you, because here I'm just veering a little away from what we have written here for the questions. So basically, schools, since we are a group of schools, climate action, can become a part of the syllabus, and it can be actually incorporated into the syllabus in a very smooth manner, because every aspect of all learning that is happening in schools must have climate action as an essential or a core part of the subject. Those are my thoughts on this. Now, I'd like to ask our director, would you like to ask something to Mr. Sinha? Yeah.
Tuhinji, at the outset, our sincere appreciation and gratitude for the effort that you're taking to bring in an awareness
Thank you.
as the glacial concern is concerned. And at KPS, each one of us, we are sincerely committed to this cause. And our main purpose is to bring in an awareness amongst children. And that is how we came into this, having this discussion at this platform. Like Chief Sangeeta said, we would like to have a support system from the government to incorporate this in a big way and bring in an awareness. So that is what I would like to put across.
Well, in terms of electromobility, it's going to be one of the crucial components of this plan of going green. And I think the government has been very forthcoming on that front and encouraged the adoption of electromobility, electrical vehicles. But yes, infrastructure arrangements like the right mechanism for electrical charging is something which also needs to be done. So as far as government is concerned, a lot of efforts are already on. There is a very innovative scheme which was announced in the budget last year and which is already being executed across the country, which is Pradhan Mantri Muft Surya Ghar Roshni Yojana. Surya Roshni Yojana, if I'm not mistaken. It is a plan to incentivize the use of solar energy in every household, wherein not just the household produces adequate solar energy for its own consumption, but also sells the remaining to the government and also, makes some money out of it.
Right.
And it has been adopted on a very big scale. There are lakhs of households which have adopted it in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So I think efforts have been on from the government, from the side of the government. What I mean by democratizing these conversations, it is, maybe if a 10th standard student or a 9th standard student can convince his parents that the next car we buy as a household, as a family, has to be an electrical vehicle, I think that would be a big achievement.
Yes.
But in so far as the government is concerned, several similar measures have taken place, and the forest cover over the last 10 years has increased substantially. There are many state governments which have been independently taking initiatives to plant, sometimes they set a target of planting 1 crore trees over the next 6 months, and they have been successfully achieving it. At the same time, I can tell you that advanced urban infrastructure development, for example, this government has built more than 800 kilometers of metro rail network in the last 11 years. Now, that is equally reducing carbon intensity. Now, there are people who might question, there are woke elements who might question that, you are uprooting certain trees. But, I can assure you that wherever trees have been uprooted, as per the norms, twice that number of trees or twice that green cover has been generated in some other area.
Right.
But at the same time, if one is giving up buses, one is giving up autos and traveling through public transport, which needs to be encouraged, maybe not so much in a small town like Jamshedpur. I think that again is a very big catalyst in this whole plan of reducing carbon intensity and thereby doing a bit for the climate.
True.
Okay. So I would like to now introduce Mr. Saikat Rahut. He's a distinguished bioscience educator whose passion for environmental education and scientific inquiry makes him an ideal choice to chair today's session. Over to you, Mr. Saikat Rahut.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
The introduction section of your book, Wayanad landslides, are cited as a consequence of reckless environmental exploitation. When large-scale ecological damage is systematically ignored or even enabled by those in power, what mechanisms, legal, social, or political, exist to hold decision makers accountable and prevent further disasters? If you can put some insight into the topic, sir.
Well, at the moment, unfortunately, we don't have stringent laws to deal with lawmakers. Lawmakers enjoy a certain immunity. But I think, over the last 2 years, many, the government has been proactively designating many such spots which can in future trigger similar landslides as danger zones and encouraging people to relocate or encouraging people to take adequate action at this point of time. Unfortunately, that's a gray zone where not many laws exist for lawmakers not doing their bit. But as citizens, if we keep raising our consciousness, if we keep punishing those leaders or those lawmakers who don't take necessary action at the right time, I think that would help in addressing the situation.
That is true. Indeed.
Having said that, in a country with a population of 142 crores, it's always, democracy is always a double-edged sword. A lot of things don't work through appeals, and at the same time, punitive action to resettle people who have, occupied a certain area becomes difficult. But yes, over the last 2 years, a lot of, across the country, our state governments have been removing illegal settlements. One of the main reasons, for the Wayanad quake was the illegal occupation of land which was not supposed to be occupied, which was very vulnerable land vulnerable to landslides.
Yes.
So I think if there is greater willpower among politicians to not solely depend upon their vote bank politics and act in national interest at the right time, a lot of these tragedies would be prevented over the next few years.
True that.
Indeed, very true, sir. We, sir, still have 5 more minutes in our hand. I think we can squeeze in another question. Climate change is unfolding at an unprecedented pace, and at best, nations are only able to mitigate its impacts. Reversal is nowhere in sight. Given this reality, should we still hold on to optimism, or is it more pragmatic to focus on resilience and adaptation while mitigating further damage?
See, reversal is a very utopian concept. It may not happen. When you think of Indus Valley civilization, there are many theories on how it disappeared. And it is quite possible that even at that point of time, the threshold for further construction or the threshold for further sustainability may have been breached. So what Prime Minister Modi through the net zero emission target has done is given a massive benchmark to the world. If other countries emulate this, the problem also is that the supposed superpowers, US and China, while their emissions are the maximum, their investment into climate finance or climate action is not proportionate to it. So the owners, in some way, by setting massive targets, India has tried to set an example for the other countries to emulate. But like you rightly mentioned, reversal is a utopian idea. I don't think reversal can happen. What we can do is delay the damage. Things which were expected by 2030, if they are delayed by 2050, and then, from 2050 to 2070, any which way, around 2047, world over, the population is going to start declining, the population growth.
Okay.
And I think over a period of time, one would achieve a situation where, the dangers of climate are the potential damage, the potential dangers pertaining to the climate zone are balanced with a reduction in population.
Okay.
That's just a theory which I'm giving based on the population figures which I read some time ago, where one is expecting a decline in the rate of growth from 2047 onwards. So maybe, the damage to the climate would also subsequently slow down, and maybe at some point of time later in the century, we achieve a certain balance, which we don't seem to have right now.
Indeed.
Till that happens, there is this theme, there is this concept in management and leadership called BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. You set certain targets, you may or may not be able to achieve those targets, but that target is going to set a certain momentum in your country, it's going to inspire future generations. And I think that's what India is trying to do. Set up big, hairy, audacious goals for the world.
True.
Indeed, that is very true. With your permission, sir, I'd like to ask another question.
Sure.
Your book highlights the limitations of carbon offsets and how, despite these efforts, glaciers continue to melt due to past and ongoing emissions. I'm sure we'll all agree that reducing fossil fuel use is the most efficient way to slow this trend. Given this, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what immediate and large-scale actions government and industry should prioritize to make a real impact on glacier preservation and climate resilience.
It would not be fair to directly link carbon offset, which is a new concept, to, saving glaciers. The damage to glacier or the melting of glaciers has been happening over many decades. And I think overall, if we can combat overall global warming, the glaciers would also be taken care of. Insofar as carbon offset is concerned, that's a very innovative concept which is being encouraged across the world, because like I said, till you weave in an economic element into climate action, it doesn't become very inducing, or it doesn't become enticing enough for entrepreneurs to venture into it on a large scale. But climate offset also requires a, more formalization, a better set of rules, which I think we are working on. And over the next few years, you will see carbon offset trade happening in a more organized way across the country, where people are more aware of it. Right now, if one has to explain it in the simplest term, if let's suppose NTPC is supposed to set up a certain project in one part of the country, which requires certain which incurs a certain cost to the climate, to make up for that or to compensate for that, it needs to cover up the damage by contributing to the green quotient in some other part or wherever feasible.
Indeed.
And obviously, there are facilitators who act as carbon offset companies, carbon offset trading companies. But like I said, this entire sector, this entire mechanism needs to be more evolved, more formalized in the years to come, which is where, if students get to know of it from now in standard 8, standard 9, standard 10, maybe in the years to come we will have a more informed and more educated generation, more erudite generation when it comes to climate action.
Thank you so much for giving
My
us your
pleasure.
time, valuable time, fantastic inputs, insights into all the action that schools need to take.
Many congratulations to you for taking so many initiatives.
Good evening, Mr. Abhinav Srivastava. It's truly a pleasure to have you with us today. On behalf of Kerala Public Schools, I extend a warm welcome to you. As we mark the first Glaciers Day and World Water Day, a global initiative led by UNESCO, we are privileged to have you share your insights with us. Your thoughts would undoubtedly add immense value to this meaningful occasion and inspire deeper reflection on conservation and climate action. Before we move ahead, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Sharat Chandran, the Distinguished Director of Kerala Public Schools, a reputed group of institutions affiliated with the ICSE and ISC boards. Under his leadership, the schools have consistently championed academic excellence, global engagement, and community impact. May I suggest that before we continue, Mr. Abhinav Srivastava and Mr. Sharat Chandran take a moment to connect.
Abhinavji, namaskar.
Namaskar, Sharat.
And it is an honor that we have you with us today. And I would like to humbly congratulate you for the commendable work that's been happening in the Jal Shakti Ministry for the last 6 years. And I understand almost 19 crore families have been impacted under the Har Ghar Jal, initiative. And as for what I was reading, almost to the tune of 4 lakh crore children have been saved from dying, which used to be because of drinking contaminated water.
Yeah.
And talking about productivity, I think, 5.5 crore man-hours saved, where women used to traverse to fetch water. So I think this is a commendable kind of an achievement in the last 6 years. And not only that, in fact, even the initiatives under the Catch the Rain, mission.
Jal Shakti Abhiyan.
Yes, is going great. It's not only about, making people aware, but also kind of saving the rainwater, tapping the rainwater, your drives for the intensive afforestation, is
Yes.
salute to you and your work that's happening.
Yeah, actually, lot of things have been going on since this government came in 2019 when the second term of this government started.
Yeah.
So the initial plan was to merge all the ministries that were running under the name of water, like Ministry of Water Resource and Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Those were brought under the Ministry of Jal Shakti as one, so
Right.
that all the problems can be taken up single-handedly and there are no inter-ministries delays because of that.
True.
And then in 2019 itself, the Catch the Rain Abhiyan, that is Jal Shakti Abhiyan, was also started under the flagship of our Honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
And in that, initially 253 districts were given, which were water stressed, then certain officers were allotted for those ministries, and lot of activities and work was being done on those districts
Right.
regarding the conservation of water, especially like the recharge of groundwater, rainwater harvesting, intensive afforestation, and special focus was also given on the IEC activities, that is the information, education, and communication,
Right.
or in layman language, we can say the mass awareness drive.
Right.
Because water, as you know, is a very critical subject. And
Absolutely.
unless and until everybody understands its importance and the need to save it, it's
True.
very difficult for only government to take care of it alone. We
Absolutely.
need each and everyone participation. Then only we can see the day at the end of the day, light at the end of the day. Because this problem, if you see now the worldwide, it is a known phenomenon that the groundwater are drying up. People are extensively using it, even in the metro cities like Chennai in India. We have seen what problems can be faced by the people there.
Yes.
So in that case, if you see, we have come a long way from government point of view. If I say
Yeah.
that we, as on date, we have very many abhiyans, activities, and things, programs going on, which if I believe somehow we are able to capture the consciousness of masses, then it can be a very, very big achievement for us and very, you can say, a sustainable way of development for India in future also.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what we are doing, sir. And I think, Honorable PM Modi's efforts have really shown true colors, and we are here, and it's a Jan Andolan today. That's how we
Yeah,
are all here.
absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, what I was before this interview, I had a thought of what all things that I can be saying today.
Yes,
But in the end, I thought maybe the best way to approach today will be, as you very aptly said, to make it as a Jan Andolan.
yes,
If we are able to aware the people about the importance and relevance of this thing, which
yes,
directly or indirectly affects everyone, because as a human being we all require water on day to day basis,
absolutely.
and in order to make it sustainable and to work it over a long period of time that we envisage, so
Yeah,
we do require a lot of mass participation and people's movement to actually have some positive impact on it.
yes. So we do understand the importance of this entire, initiative. And as schools in Jamshedpur, we are committed to the cause, and we are committed to bringing an awareness amongst children. As far as reducing the carbon footprint is concerned, driving the importance of protecting our, the natural world, and since they are going to be the future, how we can kind of, inspire them to ensure that the delicate balance of our planet's ecosystem is maintained. So this is what we
Definitely.
are all, at, sir, right now. And since 20th March is the, first International Glaciers Day, we are championing this cause in Jamshedpur, getting all the schools on board, and driving this awareness across. That is what it is all about, sir.
Great. Specifically for schools, I would like to share one of my personal experiences that I had during this Jal Shakti Abhiyan of 2019. Actually, I was the technical officer awarded for Bhilwara district in Rajasthan,
Wow.
and I was looking after the activities, all the ongoing activities regarding this water conservation and things related to that in that district. So one of the important things that come up to me was that for afforestation drive, because from government, this Ministry of Forest, they were giving seeds to different departments, and
Okay.
everyone was planting those number of seeds.
Right.
But the ground reality was that most of the uh, trees that were being planted were either eaten away by maybe cows or sheep or something like that. Um, so basically, the rate was quite less.
Okay.
So one of the problem which we faced is how to increase that thing, because on paper, if I see, so I am saying ki I have given so many seats to this ministry, so many seats to that ministry, and on paper of those ministries also they have saying ki we have planted so many trees, we have planted so many trees. But in the end, the result is maybe we might have planted 100 trees, but only 5 or 10 survived.
True.
So 80, 90 trees were lost somehow due to different maybe circumstances and reasons. So one very good idea that occurred that time to me and we also implemented there was that we asked all the school going children and principal of all the schools to ask each and every child, especially up to class 8th or maybe 10th, to maybe plant 2 to 3 trees, and whom they can also give maybe you can say name
Right.
from their
Exactly.
side. But they can treat it like their babies.
Yes.
So once the child is, you can say small in the sense ki, uh, uh, children up to maybe 8th class are very easily moldable.
Absolutely.
If you give something right to them, then those are the future of India also, and we can capture them at very young and right age itself.
Yes.
So that the feeling of compassion and that are there in those children. So
Yeah.
what we suggested that we can try and we can make this a mass drive in all the schools that are there in Bhilwara, and we can see the results and compare the output in coming 3 4 years whether the survival of those particularly planted trees are how much percentage.
Right.
So in 2019, we did this drive, and in 2022, we came to know that the survival rate for those planted trees were more than 50%.
Oh, okay.
That's
So, which was a big achievement for us, because we could easily say that yes, the whatever we are planting is actually becoming something and giving back to us, which was our initial, you can say, the thing which we wanted.
Right.
So these types of example of mass or people's participation, I guess, will take us a long way in
Absolutely.
achieving our goal.
Yes.
We shall now transition to the next segment of our conversation. It's also my pleasure to introduce Mr. Saikat Rahut, an accomplished educator with a strong background in biosciences. As someone deeply committed to inspiring young minds, he brings both knowledge and passion to the field of education. Mr. Rahut will be chairing today's session and will now formally introduce you to our audience. Over to you, Mr. Rahut.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's an honor to introduce Mr. Abhinav Srivastava, a distinguished expert in water resource management and environmental sustainability. Currently serving as the Deputy Commissioner in the Department of Water Resources, RD and GR, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Mr. Srivastava has been instrumental in addressing transboundary and interstate water disputes, particularly in the Indus Basin, and has played a key role in reviewing and monitoring hydroelectric projects across the region. His previous role as Deputy Director at the Central Water Commission saw him lead impactful initiatives in policy making, planning, and consultancy for major hydroelectric projects in Bhutan and Meghalaya. As a technical officer for Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Mr. Srivastava has demonstrated his commitment to environmental conservation through extensive work in water conservation and rainwater harvesting, restoration of traditional water bodies, watershed development, intensive afforestation with over 2.24 lakh saplings planted, conducting mass awareness programs to educate communities, especially students, about sustainable water practices. In addition to his technical expertise, Mr. Srivastava actively promotes youth engagement and environmental awareness as the Vice President of the Indian National Committee on Large Dams Young Professional Forum. His efforts in fostering innovation in hydropower sustainability and mobilizing stakeholders have been commendable. Beyond his professional achievements, Mr. Srivastava has contributed to civic initiatives as a guest faculty at the National Water Academy, a micro-observer during the Delhi elections 2020, and serves as the cricket captain for the Ministry of Jal Shakti, a testament to his well-rounded leadership. As we gather today to mark the first World Glacier Day and World Water Day, Mr. Srivastava's insight will undoubtedly enrich our understanding of water conservation strategies and inspire us to take meaningful actions towards preserving our planet's precious resources. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abhinav Srivastava. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us today. I'd like to begin by asking you a few questions to gain your insights and perspectives on the theme of the program, sir. If you permit, sir, we'll begin with the first question. In mega commercial cities, where water tankers have become the primary sources of daily water supply for many residential colonies, rainwater harvesting should not be an option, but an essential design requirement. While policies exist mandating rainwater harvesting in new constructions, how strictly are they being enforced? Who is responsible for ensuring that builders and industries integrate rainwater harvesting into their architectural designs, including regulated pipelines for usage? Additionally, industries consume vast amount of water and are often responsible for directly releasing untreated wastewater into rivers, contributing to severe pollution. How does the Ministry of Jal Shakti ensure that large-scale projects, corporate campuses, educational institutions, and industrial zones comply with both water conservation and wastewater management regulations?
Yeah, absolutely. The need for rainwater harvesting has become very essential nowadays. And considering this only, the rainwater harvesting has become mandatory for obtaining, you can say, the environmental clearance for any large construction project that is being done. So even every state government has their own set of legislations regarding this RWH, or you can say the rainwater harvesting. However, policies mandating RWH in new constructions may exist, but as you said, that enforcement of these policies has often been lax or inconsistent, especially when it comes to corporate campuses, educational institutions, and industrial buildings. Basic reason which I personally feel is the, maybe you can say, the lack or the limited awareness and also the expertise. As we were discussing earlier, also that one of the key features of our Jal Shakti Abhiyan, as I said, was that the mass awareness programs to be done so that people initially first come to understand the value of these things which we are talking, because for them rainwater harvesting is a big term. So to first understand what actually it is and how it is going to impact them is very important. While there is growing awareness of importance of water conservation, there is still only limited understanding of full benefits of rainwater harvesting and even the technicalities involved in this, especially for large scale buildings. And also the you can say the building and facility managers, especially in the malls and all, they also lack the expertise in designing and maintaining basic efficient rainwater harvesting system. And in the buildings where we are actually having these systems, there we can see that the proper maintenance is not being done, and no proper monitoring is being done whether the system which are already existent are functional or not. So major thing, if I believe, is the awareness here. Now regarding the you can say the regulations and framework, then yes, definitely we can have some stronger regulatory frameworks for rainwater harvesting. Government, especially the state government, can take lead and enact and enforce stricter building codes that mandate rainwater harvesting not only for new construction but also for during major renovation and refurbishment of any building, or you can say the malls, etc. The introduction of more stringent penalties for non-compliance could deter negligence, which we can see as of now. Because as of now, if you see, very many buildings are actually having the system, but the problem is they are not being maintained and monitored properly, and hence the functionality is a zero.
Mhm.
Regular audits and inspection of those things can be done. Right now, again, most of the people are having this system because they have to comply to certain regulations,
Mhm.
but again they fail to monitor it, and there is no one from government side also to actually audit and see whether these things are functioning or not. And to promote it, we can give some maybe incentives in some form or the other, so that people actually do want to have these things planted in their homes or malls or building, etc. So, and most importantly, the, you can say, transparency in reporting also. Suppose there are regular audits from the government side, then it becomes very important that all those audits and all those reports that are being made are very transparent. So for that, we can say we have geotagged photograph system that uses satellite data directly, and we
Okay.
can have different apps. Now new technologies are coming, very many apps can be there. So I guess by those things we can have a good transparency also on all the records that we are having. And lastly, I believe that community participation is the most important thing, and even the pressure from people itself on the local government to
Mhm.
actually have these things in their buildings and schools and premises, so that if even government is somehow lacking at some stage, then people should come in front and say, no, we want these things in our building and you should do as per the regulations. So local communities and residents can play an important role in demanding compliance, especially in areas where water scarcity is acute, by
Absolutely.
putting pressure on large institutions, and this will help in sustainable management, which can drive a positive impact in the future. So I guess in a nutshell, if you see, public participation is the most important thing here again. We can have very many regulations, but unless and until people themselves are aware about their benefits and things, it becomes hard for even the government to actually have that kind of impact which we envisage. We can be doing our bit, but yes, we do require the participation of everyone here.
Absolutely. Yes.
Indeed, we do actually observe this theme where new initiatives have been taken, fundings have been released, but maintenance becomes a big issue. And of course,
Exactly.
okay, sir, I'd like to move on to the next question. With climate change causing erratic rainfall, drying rivers, and increasing droughts, how is the ministry adapting its policies to ensure long term water security for both rural and urban India?
Yeah, climate change again is a very big thing as of now, and we can actually, as a layman, also, if we want, we can see the actually it is how it is impacting our lives, day-to-day lives. We can see the erratic rainfalls that is happening, the spell of very cold winters in a short span of time, and then extended summers. So each and every one of us as a common man are also getting impacted by this so-called climate change, which maybe 5 to 10 years earlier was something only on the book, and people actually were not understanding its impact. But nowadays, I guess it's high time that even a common man can easily understand the impact which this climate change is having on us. So from government side, if we see again, we have some initiative for water conservation and efficiency, like the programs like the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Jal Jeevan Mission, Atal Bhujan Yojana, etc. They are there to promote water conservation and improve water use efficiency, provide clean drinking water to rural as well as urban areas. These initiatives encourage your rainwater harvesting, recharge of groundwater, and even the repair of traditional water systems like ponds, wells, baulis that we had in Rajasthan. So we are trying to repair those things also, so that the traditional system can be brought back again. On the front of, you can see the river system, if we say, then we are trying to restore and rejuvenate our existing rivers which are now drying up or maybe polluted due to some reasons or the other. So for that we have Navami Ganga program that caters to the need of Ganga and all of its tributaries. So even the Jal Shakti Abhiyan had one of its directives at rejuvenation and restoration of all water bodies in each district, including again the traditional water bodies. So focus for rejuvenation of existing water bodies is also there. For the use of efficient technologies, again, we in agriculture where water demand is highest, the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana advocates the use of efficient irrigation method like drip and sprinkler irrigation,
Yeah.
reducing water wastage. The adaptation of rainwater harvesting system in farms and urban area further improves the water resilience. For urban water management, if we see, in cities, water management has become a critical focus. Initiatives like Amrut Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation supports the development of modern infrastructure for water supply and sewage treatment. Additionally, smart city projects integrate technology for real-time water monitoring, leakage detection, and optimal distribution. So these are some of the key programs. There are very many small programs also that are going on, but key programs which I am suggesting are these. And most important, again, as I said, the programs which highlight, or you can say the promote mass awareness, that is the IEC activities, are very important. So public awareness campaigns are being driven, Swachhata Pakhwada are being done, and things like that are going on, you can say, on maybe monthly basis, even in our ministries, which cater to all these, which together put up and become a resilient overall things. So community participation becomes very important. So by combining traditional methods with modern technologies, India is working towards ensuring long-term water security, especially in the face of ongoing challenges posed by this climate change.
Indeed, sir. And with the rate at which basically these concrete jungles are growing up, and the amount of water which is being run off instead of recharging the groundwater, I guess it is becoming a big problem for us. Indeed, if we
Yes, definitely.
shift to our older
That's
techniques.
why we need. That's why we need a holistic approach. When we go for development, for example, a development of a building, then it is
Exactly.
not only just a building that we are going to develop. We have to take care of all other aspects, including this water and everything else. Then only we can say that we are moving towards a sustainable development.
Definitely.
Otherwise, if we are just sitting in a silo and maybe developing a building, it's of no use. So that's why holistic development and a sustainable one is very important nowadays.
Okay, so thank you for your insight. We'd like to move on to the third question. The river interlinking project has been proposed as a solution to India's water crisis. What is the current status of this project, and how does the ministry plan to address environmental concerns linked to it?
Yeah, this has been going on since I guess 2002. This project was initially introduced, and it was a big thing. It you can say it's a game changer because what we are envisaging in this is that more even distribution of water resources from maybe today's water efficient areas to water deficient areas as of now. So obviously, any development, if we say, will come with some of its challenges, especially related to your environment and everything. But then again, those things are being taken care at government level. So to just give you an insight about this interlinking of river, under the National Perspective Plan for Water Resource Development, through inter-basin transfer of water prepared by then Ministry of Irrigation, which is now Ministry of Jal Shakti, for transferring water from water surplus basin to water deficit basins. National Water Development Agency has identified 30 links, 16 under peninsular component and 14 under Himalayan component for preparation of feasibility reports. These 30 links basically are the basins which we have identified as from one basin to other where we are going to transfer the water initially. So the river interlinking project is an important initiative to connect river across the country in an effort to address the issue of water scarcity and to provide a more uniform distribution of water resources. The project aims to transfer surplus water from water-rich areas to drought-prone regions through a network of dam, canals, and reservoirs. This will help in irrigation, domestic and industrial use of water, and also in generation of hydropower. So again, the benefits which were envisaged are these three. So the current status as of now, if we say the phase one, which is Kane Betwa link, is the clearance for this Kane Betwa link was received from central government, I guess recently in 2022, I guess. So this will connect the Kane River in Madhya Pradesh to the Betwa River in Uttar Pradesh and is expected to provide irrigation, drinking water, and also hydropower benefits to the region. Some of the other links that are identified are Daman Ganga Pinjal Link Project, Par Tapi Narmada Link Project, Kaveri Vagai Gundar Link Project, Godavari Kaveri Link Project, and Bediti Varta link. Some of the DPR, detailed project reports, have been prepared for these links as of now. Others are still, maybe you can say, in early stage, and their feasibility studies and environmental impact assessments are being done for those projects. But the names which I have just given for those detailed project reports have been prepared. and maybe in coming years we'll get approval to start the work for these things also. Now, regarding your environmental concern, which is again a very important thing, because as I said, for a sustainable development, we need to have a holistic approach and try to think those things also which may affect us in future. As of now, it might not be a problem for us, but in coming years, it may be a problem for us, and we need to rectify it right now itself. So, regarding the environmental issues, if we say the displacement of communities and biodiversity loss, that is supposed to happen, because it is a big project, and when this will be implemented in real, so there are bound to happen some biodiversity loss and displacement of people and communities. So now, if you see, the environmental clearances are now being conditioned in such a way so that the mitigating actions, such as the resettlement packages for displaced people, management of eco-sensitive zone, and wildlife conservation efforts. Only then, when you have some plans for all these three in plan, then only the environmental clearances are being provided. And without that, these clearances are not being accorded unless and until you actually have a concrete plan on all those three things. Now you can say the alteration of natural river system, because again, water, once we are taking from a river and diverting it to some other river, that was not a natural process. So obviously there are doubts that it may have some environmental impact, adverse effect, if you say. So for that, environmental impact assessments are conducted. Mitigation steps such as construction of fish passes and maintaining certain ecological water flows, which are essential for the development of all the areas which were initially under the, you can say, catchment of that river, are incorporated into the design. So again, this is very important because the, if you see a river, how it flows, the hydrology of a river is like during summer, the flow is quite less, but during rainy season, it is high. Then again, during winter, it is low. So we can easily calculate that a minimum amount of water that has to be there throughout the stretch of the river, and the excess amount of water which we are getting maybe during rainy season and due to some floods and all can be easily transferred without actually affecting the ecological diversity of that region. So that way these things are being taken care, so that neither this area gets any problem due to excess of water, nor this area gets deficient water because of transfer of water. So in such a way, these things are planned so that neither of the areas get adversely affected because of these things. Also, for maintaining water quality and soil health, natural filtration systems such as wetland and riparian buffer, etc., have been suggested in the design itself. So since it is one of the most important tool to address climate change and uncertainty, all the possible steps to ensure its long-term sustainability are being taken by the government at this time.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presence here. And this is going to go a long way in for each one of us to take, be committed to the cause of, saving water and ensuring that the balance of the ecosystem is maintained. Thank you once again so much.
Thank you.
It is my absolute pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guests today. First, I would like to welcome Dr. Purnima Voria, the founder and CEO of the National US-India Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Voria, your remarkable efforts in fostering stronger ties between India and the United States have inspired countless individuals. Your dedication to promoting business, cultural exchange, and educational collaboration is truly commendable. We are honored to have you with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Next, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to Mr. Amit Sawhney, the CEO of Nippon Global SL, Chairman, Trade Promotion Council of India Europe, CII European Union India Trade Committee, founder member, Indian Chamber of Commerce in Spain, founder member of Mat for Tennis Group, Director Commercial, Ola India, partner of University of Madrid Complutense. Mr. Sani, your dynamic leadership and contributions to international business have been exemplary. We greatly appreciate your presence here and look forward to hearing your insights.
Thank you,
Speaking
Sangeeta
of,
ji.
welcome. Speaking of impactful leadership in education, I'd now like to introduce Mr. Sharat Chandran, Director of Kerala Public Schools, Jamshedpur. With over 2 decades of experience in academics, animation, filmmaking, and community service, his journey began as the creative director at Padmalaya Telefilms, Hyderabad, before transitioning to education in 2003. In addition to his leadership in education, Mr. Chandran has actively contributed to social causes, serving as president of Rotary Club of Jamshedpur, district chair of youth services for Rotary District 3250, and the chairman of the Thalassemia Society of Jamshedpur. His diverse expertise continues to drive impactful change in both education and the community. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Purnima Voria, Mr. Amit Sawhney, and Mr. Sharat Chandran.
Thank you so much.
Over to you, Mr. Saikat Rahut.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So, Dr. Purnima Voria and Dr. Mr. Sani, I'm very, very excited to hear the interaction that may happen between you. Please proceed, sir.
It's an honor to have Dr. Purnima Voria with us, Mr. Amit Sawhney. In fact, when I was talking to the audience in the morning, I was mentioning that, it is said that by 2050, 70% of the glaciers would melt. And, it would affect trade and commerce, it would affect lifestyles, life, and everything at large. So I'm very sure, ma'am, you would be kind of, working on the same lines. And I would like to hear more from you on those lines. And Amit ji, I was listening to one of your talks where, when you mentioned that when you were a boy, you once heard your father say that, about businesses, that, the nature of business was that, the big fish would eat the small fish. And later on, when you became a corporate leader, you went for a party and, you interacted and you got to know that, that the fast fish would eat the small fish. And then in an interaction with your spouse, she happened to say that, it's no more like that. Companies with a green, touch would be the ones who would overtake the ones who don't have a green touch, right? So that really stayed with me, and I'm extremely intrigued, to know more about this. So over to you all to get this thing moving.
Thank you so much for that remembrance, and thank you so much, Sharat ji, for reminding that. I think the concept of sustainability has been started much before by our visionary father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who once said that, we are all custodian of this Mother Earth, and we have to pass it on to the next generation. I think we realize it after a few decades when we are thinking that our glaciers are melting, our ozone holes are depleting. We have to be more aware and careful for the climatic changes, which is adversely taking place, which is not good for the future generations to come. And I think we are on a very right path, and we are thinking on the same lines which our ancestors have said. So, yeah, Purnima ji, I would like, you are the the most experienced person here. Maybe you can throw more light on that.
So, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this very important discussion on the role of industries in addressing the climate crisis. Of course, it is an honor to join this interactive conversation with Mr. Amit Sawhney, whose insights will undoubtedly enhance our dialogue today. I look forward to exploring all the aspects of outline that you have outlined in the agenda today, supported by specific examples. So what I would like to do is perhaps give you a few examples from the business world that will help us navigate through this climate change crisis. So when I'm exploring these aspects that you have outlined, For example, the evolution of industries in climate action. If we talk about that, over the past 3 or 4 decades, industries have transitioned from minimal compliances to adopting proactive climate leadership. For example, companies like Patagonia pioneered in sustainable practices in 1990 by introducing recycled material. And while today leaders like Apple commit to carbon neutrality across supply chains by 2030. So, with that, I want to move on a little bit to sustainable practices to mitigate the environmental impact. Because all these things are very, very important, and we need to seriously take a look at these. In transportation, Tesla electric vehicles innovation have reduced carbon emission globally, while companies like Maersk are investing in carbon neutral shipping fields. In agriculture, Pepsi's regenerative farming practices aim to improve soil health and sequester carbon while boosting crop yields. And renewable energy initiatives from companies like Siemens Gamesa, which develops wind turbine technology, are critical to decarbonizing power generation. So, in my role as the National US India Chamber of Commerce, I've witnessed how collaborations between United States and India, such as joint ventures in solar energy and green hydrogen, and are fostering technology transfer and creating scalable, sustainable solutions. Um, I just wanted to kind of introduce that. I can go on if you want me to. And then maybe you can go ahead and ask questions if you have some. So, in challenges in implementing green policies, one major hurdle has been that the upfront cost of transitioning to green technology is very high. But initiatives like US Inflation Reduction Act have made renewable energy investments more viable and enabling businesses like General Motors to pledge an all electric future by 2035. Supply chain complexities also pose challenges. IKEA's development of regional supply chains for sustainable materials is a notable example of addressing these issues. Broader implication for global business that should be also addressed. Opportunities for innovation. Companies like Beyond Meat are innovating in plant-based proteins, revolution while reducing environmental impact. So everyone is kind of trying to do in their own way, and we are in the fifth industrial revolution. So it seems like job creation is also something that we are looking at. The renewable energy sector is a prime example where solar and wind industries generating millions of jobs globally. For instance, in India's ambitious national solar mission, it has created over 300,000 jobs to date. I think the partnerships also play a big role. Global collaborations such as the International Solar Alliance, co-founded by India and France, highlights how partnership can accelerate renewable energy adoption and address the climate change goals collectively. These examples not only illustrate actually how businesses are not only addressing climate change challenges, but also creating economic and social value. Please, um, I think these are my insightful discussions, and I'll be happy to let you take over, Amit ji, now. I hope I set the stage for our conversation.
Yes, Purnima ji, it was very well. In fact, it's the your point about National Solar Mission is an eye opener. Something which I have learned also, that is a very good initiative. Also, global collaboration you have said between G2G, India and France. You said they are doing it. On the industry level also, we are trying our part, because we are a Europe-based group, we are a Spain-based company, and we have a very successful collaboration in Indian companies. We did some mergers, we did some acquisitions. Nowadays, one of the prime point which we have started telling and observing is how much environmental focus we are, because we know that CBAM taxes will be coming for sure in future from European side. So we have to be net zero, or we have to be working on net zero, process. Coming about our own CSR activity, I mean, which we are doing at the moment, is that we are backing up a NGO drive called Matrabhumi in Gujarat, where we are trying to provide these sustainable solutions to the farmers. The belt where my industry is, it's very famous for growing onions. So we are trying to help those farmers by educating them, by connecting them with the agronomist from Spain or from Europe to solve their problem. We have created some WhatsApp groups where they can just click a picture of their crop, they can describe the problem, and some expert will address that. So we are on our own small scale, we are trying to do some impact. Now I have recently started one new thing. A new plant is coming up where we have kept a very big green area, that whoever will be visiting our plant means our manufacturing facility, he will be obliged to go to the gardens of that plant, and we will get him plant one tree, which we will take care for on his name. So if Mr. John is visiting our manufacturing facility, there will be a tree planted in the name of Mr. John, and it will be taken care by us. So just a small initiative. So, they will be feeling a connection with our mother country. I mean, we have something in India which we have planted a long years before. So we are just trying to do a little bit of our part. And in fact, day before yesterday also, I was hosting one probable collaboration between G2G in India and Spain, where, coming to the agro sector, now Rajasthan government is trying to grow olives, because they have a strong conviction that their climate is very similar to Spanish Andalusian climate. And so they successfully, I have been a part of this since 2019. They were doing very well till last year, when they realized that crops are not giving that good yield. And Government of India is also very proactively helping on this. Our ambassador of India in Spain, he helped a lot by keeping these people on board. And we are sending 5 agriculture scientists from Spain to India, who will be telling our agriculture, farmers, that how we should, what is the problem, what is the root area, what is the cause of. So these small things, in the end, one small step leads a man to the moon. So if we all will be behaving in our own CSR or social responsibility, maybe the impact will be for the future generation. Sharatji, I was seeing that on the introduction that you are from animation side also, right? Something related to animation you are doing. So nowadays, hello?
You're audible. Go ahead.
So nowadays, we are teaching in Spain and in Europe, we are teaching our kids a lot that reduce, reuse, and recycle. So I just come across a children's song also, which in elementary school, they are telling them by cartoon and by small song, so that the child, what we realize at a very later stage of life, maybe the kids of tomorrow who are very smart and need to be more aware, can learn this from their inception itself. So there was a group called Kill Boomers who are coming up with this kind of cartoons and songs which can make the kids aware for the future challenges which we are going to see. And these kind of things are very good. I really appreciate it. So yes, in my sector, food sector, a lot is being done at the moment. A lot is people are trying also. About the artificial meat, you already said about the veg protein, something Purnima ji have mentioned. Lot of superfoods are being started marketed from India.
Mhm.
Makhanas, which were
Yes, yes.
not, they are so much aware in the whole world as a
Mhm.
very rich source of proteins. They are being marketed very well as a superfood. In
Mhm.
fact, our honorable Prime Minister is giving a lot of impetus to this millets. Millets are
Yes.
quite well known now in Spain. In fact, last 3 years, I have been a part of millet awareness campaign. First year, we had a very bad or nominal response because people don't know what millets are here. But now, in just 3 years, there are some millets which are sold in the mainstream supermarkets over here, which is so good for, millet is a crop which is so much of abundance in India, and it is such a good superfood. And just there was a lack of awareness. So we need to make this world aware of the good points all regions can offer, so we can give a sustainable, world climate to the future generation of tomorrow. So this is my thought on it, Dr. Purnima. I mean, you are much more experienced, and you can tell much more about the collaborations and what all US companies are trying to do along with India, and what all can be done where there is a room for improvisation. So I give it to the
Yes.
other veteran experts.
I think in the agri-tech, especially in the Northwest United States, Pacific Northwest, which is South Dakota, North Dakota, Oregon, Montana, Washington State, and so forth, we have a lot of opportunities that you just mentioned in the agri-tech technology. And we could import that, export that to India and even to Spain for that matter. I'm very familiar with the olives you were talking about because I am from Rajasthan, from Jaipur. And so I'm very, very familiar with a couple of years ago is when they started this olive growing business, sort of speak. And I think with the climate change and with the changes in the soil, which we are not sometimes taking very good care of, I think that that also leads to the crops not being of very good quality. I mean, Spain and many other countries, we see the olives that we get here, whether it's in Costco or stores like that. I mean, those are huge olives, but I doubt that Rajasthan has produced something like that. So I think the agri-tech technology transfer is something that we can work on together. I think you are also a Chamber of Commerce, if I'm not mistaken. So there to sign an MOU with our Northwest US India Chamber of Commerce. We just started that. In fact, I just came back from an event that was our inaugural event for the Northwest US India Chamber of Commerce, and our Consul General Prakash Gupta ji of India in Seattle was there, and I came straight from the event, and I'm here with you guys um, joining in this conversation. So it's very timely, and I think that everything starts with a step, a small step, and I agree that we take the baby steps, but having the joint venture partnership will lead to many other opportunities. Because whenever we formalize our relationship, we are bound to work on it. And we make a MOU specific to what we are going to do together. And it could be just one, two, three, 4 points. And we handle them, tackle them, and then we move on to the next need of the hour. So I think tech transfer, agri-tech transfer, because this region is very, very much filled with that in many, many of the 9 states that is in the Consul General's jurisdiction. And that's who we are. Chamber of Commerce has been existing for last 20 years. This is our 20th anniversary. When I came to this North Pacific Northwest region, I was asked that in this region, for last 50 years, we never had a chamber. And that is the reason they requested me, with my experience of 20 years, to please come and start it here. And that is the reason we had a very major event with big business community organizations, various chamber of commerces, and it was blessed by the Consul General of India.
Congratulations, Dr.
Thank you.
Voira,
Thank you.
because it's a really good achievement. I know what it takes. I have been part of few chambers, Indo-Spain, CII. I myself chair the Trade Promotion Council of India and also member of Sharjah Chamber of Commerce in Middle East. So I'm
Mhm.
going to propose the MOU partnership between your Northwest Indian Chamber with all of them, and we see where we can give power and synergies to each other and possible chances of collaboration. But congratulations, you are doing a fantastic job, and somebody has to volunteer for the sake of future, because we all need each other. I think future is
Yes.
about collaboration, future is about development, future is about innovation. Recently, somebody was telling me that how Tesla is making money. Since you have mentioned about Tesla, so it was coming to my mind. And I say, well, by selling cars. They say no, they almost sell cars at zero margins. And I
Mhm.
said, then how do they sustain? How do they survive? And they say their main source of income is this carbon certificates, which they generate by saving so much of carbon emissions, which
Yes.
our European car manufacturers need to buy.
Mhm.
And this is such a smart moves which we can think of, and I think our future generation should be aware of such smart practices which could fetch them such high yields in future, not only in terms of monetary terms but also in terms of social responsibility. So I think these kind of chamber activities, collaboration, MOU signing can help our future youth more aware. And I'm glad to know that you are from Rajasthan, because I am also from Rajasthan. I am from Kota. So
Oh,
it is
okay.
education.
Yeah, I've
It is
been
an
to Kota
education.
many times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jaipur, we always have to come because it's our capital.
Yeah,
So I
right.
mean, we have that affinity also, that we both are from same region, and we will definitely try to explore personally where we can give what power. And I would
Mhm.
like to give this credit to Kerala Public and Sangeeta ji and their drive, that they help us
Absolutely.
coming to this platform and talking about a future of kids, youth, collaboration, glaciers, environment. They are so important at the moment. They are the need of the hour. So we have
Exactly.
to
That's
address
exactly
this
what I
point.
was going to say.
Please, 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 please take it up. Please tell your vision on this.
No, I was just saying that it is not just a volunteer thing, it is a business need of the hour. And more collaborations are needed, more people need to have dialogues. This is a great opportunity that Sangeeta ji has provided today. Because these dialogues, see, within 5 minutes, we came up with the MOU, we came up with the agri-tech technology transfer. I would also invite a delegation from Spain to come to
Thank
Northwest
you.
region.
We would
And
love to.
then we can connect you with the right companies that are doing this. When you mentioned Tesla, I would say that watch out. Elon Musk is coming to India this month,
Yes,
and a major deal is are in place, because
yes,
Prime Minister has given him a team, especially by PM office, to give him all the support and all the help he needs to start
yes,
manufacturing Teslas in India.
yes. Make in India, sell in India. The
For
world is
India.
working on China plus one now. Yeah, so India is the future for
Yeah, I
sure.
would say make in India, sell in India, and for India.
For
You
India.
know,
Absolutely,
I think we
absolutely.
need to
Thank you.
continue to build on this talk that we have today,
Mhm.
because it's not a one day thing, it's an ongoing effort. And
Absolutely,
climate change affects global economic development also. So it's
absolutely.
not one country's problem or the other, it is everybody's problem. As Prime Minister Modi says that, Vasudev Kutumbakam, this is our family, our global family, whether it's New Delhi and the effects that we are seeing in New Delhi. I mean, little children getting cancer, because of the pollution and so forth. So all this is, some of it is self-created, some of it is just the way earth is warming, the way things are happening, and our some of our bad habits that we have developed of wanting the things that I think our forefathers were not as greedy as we are as a generation. I think they lived
Absolutely.
a simple life. They took care of the plants, they took care of the trees, they worshipped the trees, which was very good way of not cutting them down.
Yes.
So I think more needs to be done. We have to have fresh air. We have to have more trees planted. And I know that every little step makes a difference. And I think we should have a very visionary prime minister who takes it upon himself to
Yes.
educate the 1.4 billion people of India and
Yeah.
also inspires global countries.
Absolutely.
So I think any webinar or any talk that we have, if it results into something tonight, I think that's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely.
Purnima ji, thank
Yes.
you very much for reminding Vasudev Kutumbakam. That used to be my WhatsApp status for a few years.
Okay.
I will tell you the reason behind that. You are living in West. I am also living in West, and we are very Atithi Devo Bhava. We are very hospitable people. I think we are more emotionally welcoming than Westerners. I say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So sometimes while we getting cozy with someone, or you really like if I called Sharatji now, my brother, I think he would be on the same page with me because this is what we imbibe as a culture. But here in West, if you
Mm-hmm.
say someone, brother, maybe he would not take it as healthily as we used to because there is a lot of practicality here in this part of the region and the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy in G20 where I was speaker also. So our great Prime Minister has given a one-liner that one world, one future, one family.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that's all
Yes.
lot of that speaks it's for itself and lot it speaks a lot that we are all one family and we can treat each other more nicely than how we are treating. And one of the ways by saving environment for the future generations, which you just mentioned. Maybe our forefathers were less greedy, worshipping trees, and now comes the consumerism. We are all bitten by consumerism. This world is, and now gadgetism, I would call it, which is creating tech zombies. Also, I call when I talk to youngsters, I said, well, this particular generation is really, I feel, you are a sufferer because at the moment the schools and I'm very happy that I'm addressing to a school, and I'm sure that you are so aware that you are smart enough to be futuristic. But here when the COVID comes, especially this gadget use enhanced a lot because of home tuition, home working, remote working. Then also the office also got to the back office, remote offices. And then, we just come to know about the good side of this by acting or working from anywhere. Like now, as of now, we are talking from between India, US, and Spain. So it's a good part of this. But there is a shady
The world
side of
is shrinking and becoming borderless.
yes, yes. There is a shady side also that I said that maybe the next generation will be coming. Maybe they will declare it as an addiction, and there will be restriction on usage of the gadgets, which I strongly feel there should be. Because as Saratji has listened to one of my talks, I said in future, before in my father's time, big fish eat the small fish. In my times, fast fish eat the slow fish. Maybe in the future, the fishes without gadgets will eat the fishes with gadget because they will be more smart. So yes, I would
Yes.
I would appeal to the schools to please make the kids aware, if possible, of the sensible usage of the tech which is in their hand. Since my childhood, and Purnima ji, I think you also will relate to it. We used to have one topic. We have to write an essay. Vigyan ek
Yes.
chamatkar or abhishap. Science is a boon or a bay. We always used to address that, and I really feel very close to that topic now because we have to take the good side and we have to try to reduce the shady sides. So Sangeeta ji, Kerala Public School, my request, my appeal, because you are one organization who is trying to make a change, kindly address this situation as well to the kids. Make them aware for the sensible usage of gadgets, please.
And I would also like to ask you, so you made a mention about carbon certificate. If you would just explain to the children what carbon certificate is.
All right. So, okay, I would like to explain it in a very basic way, not to go very tech deep. That, for example, if I'm a car manufacturer, I have to calculate that my car will consume this much of the fuel, it will have this much of the emission, and this will throw this much of carbons to the environment. So now I have to be a carbon neutral. If I am giving to environment 1 unit of carbon in the environment, I need to neutralize it. Now, how I can neutralize it? There is only one way, by planting trees. So either I need to plant so many trees which will neutralize that 1 unit of carbon, which I am a part of putting in the atmosphere, or else I need to buy those carbon credit from someone who is growing trees. One good example is bamboo is a very good source of anti-carbon emissions. So this is the future. Purnima ji already talked about solar collaboration. I think we should have carbon collaborations also in future, but that will be a futuristic thing. At the moment, we are working on hydrogen collaborations. Spain has made a hydrogen corridor, and in fact, last year I chaired one of the programs where they have had 73 companies working on a green hydrogen production from coastal areas, northern coastal areas of Spain. So a lot can be done in energy, a lot can be done in carbon. And in our times, Purnima ji, you must be relating, if you make 50 people stand in the class, 25 would say, I will become a doctor, 25 would say, I will become engineer. But now the world has evolved and grown so much. There are so many opportunities for the future kids. And Sharat ji, thank you for asking this, because carbon, energy, sustainability is the future. Now kids needs to go in this direction to not only conserve and preserve Mother Earth, but also for their own career goals. It's going to be a very futuristic, phenomenal opportunity. So thank you from my side.
And as you said,
Thank you so
if I
much.
may say something, as you mentioned that times are changing and our children are our future, and if they are going to learn or relearn what our ancestors taught us, I think that would be very good. We are in the 5th industrial revolution, as I mentioned, in which human element is going to take a big role. Businesses are looking into that, the human element of doing things. And that is something we should teach our children in schools as well. That because we are so caught up in this new modern era where gadgets have taken over our lives. We are on the phone, even if we go to dinner with a family, everybody's on their phones. And our lives have changed dramatically and sadly. So, because before we didn't have TV, we didn't have phones. So we played corner to corner at home. We played Sitolia, or we played all kinds of games. And we had human interaction. And I think that is again going to be reviving. And I think the schools should also inspire children to get away from these gadgets and technologies, and perhaps be more human to each other.
Thank you so much, Dr. Voria and Mr. Sawhney. I am very grateful for the time that you have spared for us, and we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled for the insights that you have given, because we've got a lot to think about, work on. We'll be listening to the recording, and the recording will be submitted to UNESCO as well, and the report will go from my end. So on that note, I'm extremely grateful for your presence here today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Purnima ji,
Thank
nice
you.
meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is my privilege to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Shimrit Maman, an esteemed expert in space and earth sciences. Dr. Maman is the director of the Earth and Planetary Image Facility at Ben Gurion University of the Negev, Israel. Her extensive research focuses on remote sensing, environmental monitoring, and sustainable development, making significant contributions to global climate initiatives. We are honored to have her with us today, and we look forward to gaining valuable insights from her expertise. Welcome, Dr. Maman.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is my privilege to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Remya Nambudri, an accomplished researcher and assistant professor at the School for Sustainable Futures. With a PhD and extensive expertise in glacial dynamics, climate change, remote sensing, permafrost studies, geomorphology, and cryospheric hazards, Dr. Nambudri's research plays a crucial role in understanding our planet's evolving landscape. We are honored to have her with us today, and we look forward to hearing her invaluable insights. Welcome, Dr. Nambudri. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sharat Chandran, Director of Kerala Public Schools, Jamshedpur. With over 2 decades of experience in education, animation, filmmaking, and community service, Mr. Chandran has made significant contributions to both academic innovation and social causes. His leadership roles include serving as President of the Rotary Club of Jamshedpur, District Chair of Youth Services, and Chairman of the Thalassemia Society. We are privileged to have him with us today. Let's give him a warm welcome. I welcome Dr. Shimrit Maman, Dr. Remya N, and Mr. Sharat Chandran to today's digital conference. You may take the floor now. Welcome once again. Dr. Shimrit Maman, you may start.
Okay, thank you so much. I was wondering if I could share a presentation, if you could just allow me to share. I don't have sharing permissions.
Just a second, ma'am. I'll provide it for you.
Okay, thank you. And meanwhile, I'll also introduce myself a bit further just to stall a bit time. But basically, oh, here, perfect. So I am just going to share this presentation in order to just set the scene. So could you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So one of the things I'm currently dealing with is climate intelligence using nano satellites. And I'm also, in the past years, serving as the head of United Nations Spider Regional Support Office in Israel. So just to set the scene and let you know what I'm doing in my everyday life. So the first and foremost thing that everybody does in labs and universities is research. But my lab is a bit more unique because we had the privilege of launching our own nano satellite. So I also have a ground satellite receiving station within the Earth and Planetary Image Facility. I really liked the previous speakers that just set the scene for my talk because they talked about how we can engage the next generation. And this is something we're investing a lot in the university. And we have our Space Bullion community. And apart from that, we have several activities that do engage a public within the university because we do believe that this knowledge should be spread out. Having said that, I don't know how many people are familiar with the technology, but basically what we're doing is we're doing science from above. Every data that could be collected without any physical contact is called remote sensing. And we're gathering this data with satellite images, drones, airplanes, but just looking at the data a bit differently. It's a different perspective of collecting the data. And that data allows us to have a really diverse and multidimensional detection and classification. And we could derive a lot of different insights just using one satellite image. And this has been present for a long time, but as we are advancing with the technology, we are witnessing a change of trend in the application. And we do see that historically, most of the satellites of the nano satellite missions are of Earth observation and remote sensing, especially with the new players coming in, such as Planet Labs. And also the future trends, which is, I did not update the slides to 2023, are to 2025, I'm sorry, but are mostly Earth observation and remote sensing. And that need is especially because of that climatic data we're purchasing. Not many people know, but most of the data that is collected for climate change analysis is collected by satellites. We're talking about 50% of the data. Think about all the things you could do using a satellite image. Now, this technology has been available for over 60 years. This is an example of a picture from an American meteorological satellite from 1960. So I just need your brain to start thinking what's changing if this technology has been present for such a long time. And one of the major things that are changing right now is the spacecraft miniaturization trends. These satellites are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And you could see the people here, just the scale. We left the people in the pictures. But the thing is that people think that if we create small satellites, we don't launch the large satellites as well. We still do that. But today, it's so much available and so much accessible to send nano satellites. This is an example for a microsatellite that we in Israel have actually launched nearly 30 nano satellites. 23 of them were launched by high school children. And the last launch was just 9 days ago. And my university launched a really special satellite. It's called BGU, Ben Gurion University Satellite, BGU-SAT. And when you see the dimensions, you don't really get a sense of what a nano satellite is because it's a 10 by 10 by 30 centimeters, but this picture is a bit misleading. So I'm just going to show you a picture of how small it is, okay, while I'm holding it. So this is how small the satellite is. Coming back to the purpose of the satellite, this is a 3-unit CubeSat, okay, in a low Earth orbit. And at the time when we launched, this was the only nano satellite with a shortwave infrared imaging system on it. And this satellite has several missions, but I do want to just highlight that this was successfully launched from India on the PSLV C-37. So this is one of the first connections I had research-wise and technology-wise with India. Our objectives for the satellite were, first of all, to show a technology demonstration. We wanted to show that we could take a large satellite, minimize it, and do the same job. And the second thing is we wanted to enable our students at Ben Gurion with hands-on education. It's one thing learning how to launch a satellite. It's a different thing to experience and gain that experience. So we wanted to really allow our students with hands-on education, and we had over 30 research groups just working on this small nano satellites from all departments, including managing departments. And of course, as a university, we're always obligated to conducting science. So the ongoing research, okay, this is the antenna and the ground satellite receiving station. But the ongoing research with the satellite was designed because of that specific wavelength, the shortwave infrared camera that was on it, was in order to learn climate change in general, but more specifically, for example, we checked the Earth glow of Earth or floods, pre and post floods, but and that's not the only thing you could do with this specific wavelength. For example, you could also differentiate between clouds and ice or snow. Okay, this is a specific bandwidth. And then what you see here on the left is the satellite is actually traveling at a speed of 7.5 kilometers per second. So we could gain this really nice batch of several pictures together and form this video going over Israel when there is no storm. And on the right, we are demonstrating us learning storms. For example, you could see on the left a stormy day, and on the right, the same area with no clouds that enables us also to study the cloud cover from that region. Now, the second thing that you could also see, because I was discussing the technology demonstration we were proving, this satellite, even though it was really small, had an attitude control system on board. So you could see us changing the angle of the camera, and it's really changing how we could see the Earth. This is not good for remote sensing applications, but this is a great ability using satellites. So this could be, the satellite has different studies on it. And one of the major things we wanted to show was the improvement in resolution. So we took a satellite with the same band that has the shortwave infrared band and our satellite, and just showing the difference in the spatial resolution that we were able to achieve, but in comparison to a satellite this big. So this is an American satellite. Look at how big it is. And you remember the size of my satellite, and you could definitely see the improvement in spatial resolution as well. So this unique band, the shortwave infrared band, there aren't a lot of satellites that have that band available. And even if even if they are on board, it's a shoot on demand. So you don't always get the shortwave infrared images whenever you like. And we wanted to show that capability demonstration and say, even though we have all these satellites in space, not all of them are active, not all of them are Earth observation, okay? And this is true to when we launched the satellite. And even though we had at the time 220 nano satellites, most of them by planet, there was only one with a shortwave infrared sensor on board. It didn't change a lot in the following years. We do have a bit more satellites, but not as many. And this important wavelength is really critical for specific applications of climate change studying. Now, combining the temporal resolution of GEO very high satellites and the spatial resolution of low Earth orbit satellites, we're gaining a lot of knowledge just by changing that constellation. And we already have images from 6,000 places around the globe. And they're all available, by the way. If you ever want to access the data, it's online. Just look for BGUsat image browser, and you could access the data. You could register and download the data for yourself if you just want to play around. And if something doesn't work at the site, just email me and we'll fix that for you. But the thing is that the motivation for this research was actually because of that changing climate that is due to that. Is also we see a rise in the past 20 years of disasters. And you could see here everything from drought to earthquake to extreme temperatures to floods to landslides. Everything almost doubled itself in the total disastrous events. But the thing that struck us most is that the floods are really something that we could access and study, and it's more applicable than, for example, earthquake that is much harder to predict or to study, and we could mostly just have a post-analysis. So picking up on this disaster and understanding that, we even specified the specific need for flash floods in arid regions, because even if you go online and you look for floods, there are many tools, but research in arid regions just like in Israel and the Thar Desert in India, are a bit more problematic because they don't experience just floods. They experience flash floods that are even more disastrous, very rapid in their generation, and they are going to be increasing as well. So when we're talking about that type of disaster and how we could use space for that type of disaster, so of course we have the post stage after that disaster, and it doesn't matter which, if it's a flash flood or a flood, we could see the impact assessment. But we're aiming to getting to a point where we could see the prone areas and create an alert early warning system for those flash floods based on satellite images. So that understanding that, we have to know the stages of what happens during the flash floods, characterize them, map them, okay, map the prone areas, understand the informal stream network, understand the ecological impact and the damage assessment, and bringing this all together enables us, not enables, I'm sorry, we must monitor this process for a long time, which we've been doing for the past 20 years. Now, the reason we're using remote sensing and satellite imagery is that these areas are usually very remote. We don't have access to these areas. So that satellite enables me to see that area during the entire time. I have a very high temporal resolution. I am gaining really great spatial resolution, okay, the size of the pixels. I could go back in time, and I have different bands that I could see, not just the visible range, but also using shortwave infrared images. And because of these unique properties of the flash floods, we have to be very creative.
Dr. Maman, I would
Yes.
also like to, sorry to intervene, Dr. Ramya Nambudri is in conversation with you, and if she could share her insights along with you, it would be wonderful. Dr. Ramya, could you please join Dr. Shimrit Maman in sharing your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Sangeeta ji, and thanks, Smriti, for your Sumrit, for your wonderful insights. Like, I also work in remote sensing, so I could understand the advancement of technology from your side, what we don't have. So I would like to just brief about what is happening climate change in the Indian Himalaya, because I'm a glaciologist working over 10 years in the Indian Himalaya. So by studying Himalayan glaciers over 10 years, I have seen how quickly they are changing and why it is important to monitor them closely. So after completing my PhD and spending time understanding the challenges faced by mountain communities, my mission as a glaciologist is, as you mentioned, turn into scientific research on glaciers into practical solutions that we actually expect nowadays, because all the things has been articulated, and we have a lot of publications that, okay, climate change is happening and it is in the mountains are changing and glaciers are actually retreating. Such systems, how can we use this as a catalyst and implement something like early warning systems and risk assessment to protect these vulnerable communities in the downstream? So just we know, Himalayan glaciers are a critical source of fresh water of millions of people, sustaining ecosystems, supporting livelihoods. So due to global warming, these glaciers are retreating in an alarming rate, while the initial melting of glaciers actually temporarily increase the river flow. So this is actually nothing to celebrate. It's a short-term benefit. But over a time, continued melting of these glaciers will lead to a sharp declining in water availability in the downstream and posing serious challenges for the downstream communities. So what we do in the Himalaya, as you have mentioned, we rely on satellite images because field measurements in the Himalayas are challenging due to extreme terrain, harsh weather conditions, high altitude, and all those factors. So remote sensing is a powerful tool. Like most of us in the Himalayan cryosphere use remote sensing as to measure the glaciers, like as in the terms of glacier dynamics, as well as how the water availability, everything. So we can monitor how the glaciers are changing over a multi-decadal scale using the remote sensing data. So there are different remote data providers we have, like, including ESA, then NASA. Then again, we have our own ISRO, like Indian Space Research Organization, play a key role in providing satellite data that helps to monitor glacier changes and access-related hazards in the Himalaya. So we can monitor how glaciers are changing using these images, and glacier melt and the retreat of glaciers is one of the most visible and concerning changes in the form. And one of the other factors is the formation of rapid glacial lakes in the Himalaya. So satellite analysis conducted by ISRO between 1984 to 2023, over a 40 years of scale, has identified around 2,400 lakes, glacial lakes in the Himalaya, more than 10 hectares of size. So with that, 676 of these lakes are growing significantly since 1984. And 130 of these glacial lakes are located in Indian Himalaya. So this is what the statistics like mentioning that these are the statistics of the glacial lake. This is one of the example I am showing you that how the glacial lake impacting on hazards. Like the glacial lake outburst flood is the one of the main hazards actually facing in the Indian Himalaya. We have already know like Kedarnath disaster on 2013 and Sikkim outburst on 2023. These are the major disasters happen in terms of GLOF. So the rapid expansion of this lake due to accelerated glacier melt not only signals significant environmental changes, but also heightens the risk of glacial lake outburst flood in the Himalaya, which can lead to massive flood in the downstream, threatening communities and infrastructure. So as this changes, it became increasingly important to closely monitor the glaciers and associated landforms in the Himalaya and assess the associated risks to ensure sustainable water management and disaster preparedness for the future. So this is what a brief, research what I do, in the Himalayas as a glaciologist. So we can actually share our insight, if you have worked related to this field. I know that you have worked on floods, so that is also connected to some of this region, because floods are actually in the mountainous floods are cascading effect. Like it's not the river flood, like sometimes it's like due to a landslide, then due to like extreme weather, extreme monsoon or extreme cloud burst or something, and also the glacial lake outburst flood. So that can lead to a massive effect in the Himalayan region.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, valuable time, your presence here, and your vast knowledge. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. Thank you, Dr. Ramya. Thank you, Dr. Shamrit. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, and hopefully we will be there in person next time.
Oh, that would be the icing on the cake, as they say, or cherry on the cake. We look forward to your presence here in India. Please be here. Most welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for Kerala Public School and especially Sangeeta ji. This is my second time I'm speaking, on behalf of Kerala Public School as a glaciologist.
Yes.
So, I always feel wonderful because school level education is very much needed, in terms of climate change and awareness. So you people are doing a great job and keep going for this school children are we know that climate change is future generation, they are already facing and they are victim of all these changes. So you people are actually teaching them and organizing this kind of programs. So I really appreciate you people. So thank you for this opportunity.
Namaste, Anila Singh ji. A very warm welcome to you. I will start with your introductions without wasting time, ma'am. Ms. Anila Singh is a prominent spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, and serves as the chairperson of the Antyodaya Foundation, an organization dedicated to supporting people living below the poverty line. She is a passionate social worker and a strong advocate for gender parity, which inspired her to launch the movement Politician to encourage women in politics. Ms. Singh is also the co-author of Sovereign and Amritkal, Sovereign She and Amritkal. Previously, she held the position of director at the Greater Noida Institute of Medical Sciences. With her eloquence and powerful presence, she has become a compelling voice for social change, inspiring countless individuals to break barriers and strive for equality. Her unwavering commitment to social upliftment and nation building makes her a truly influential figure in contemporary India. I am deeply honored to welcome the esteemed Ms. Anila Singh, a distinguished leader and inspiring advocate for social change, whose remarkable contributions have made a lasting impact on society and empowered countless lives.
Thank you.
It is also my privilege to introduce another remarkable individual who has made significant contributions to her field, Ms. Lakshmi R. Born and raised in the lush green landscapes of Kerala, Ms. Lakshmi spent her childhood immersed in nature. Surrounded by vibrant fields and flourishing ecosystems, she developed a deep-rooted love for the environment, a passion that continues to inspire her work today. Pursuing her academic interests, Ms. Lakshmi earned a master's degree in computer applications. However, her innate desire to serve society and ensure quality education for all led her to join Kerala Public Schools, where she found the perfect platform to fulfill this vision. As the academic director, she is deeply committed to providing every child with meaningful learning experiences. Her dedication extends beyond academics as she actively engages in environmental projects that foster awareness and inspire students to become responsible stewards of the planet. Through her leadership, she continues to shape an educational environment where knowledge, growth, and environmental consciousness go hand in hand. I now welcome these two distinguished personalities to engage in a conversation that will enlighten our global audience about the remarkable benefits of their work and its far-reaching impact. Namaste to both of you.
Anila ma'am, it's an honor to be a part of this conversation with you, and I've been keenly waiting for this moment. Today is also a special day. Today, 20th March, is a significant moment, the vernal equinox or spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. This day symbolizes balance and renewal. A day and night are approximately equal in duration, and the sun rises due east and sets due west. So I think such an auspicious day to discuss on incredible women in the world around who are making impact on environmental change, conservation, and climate action. So, ma'am, over to you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
My namaskar to all, and thank you to Kerala Public School to invite me on this platform to discuss about that how the importance of the glaciers and the water bodies in our world has to be maintained. Otherwise, they will be, eloped one day, and with that, humanity will be finished. So it is a very, very important topic to discuss, and I'm honored to be the part of this panel of yours. I really congratulate the school, and like Sangeeta was in contact with me, I must congratulate her too as well, because when she asked me on LinkedIn that will you be able to participate, I said no. It is a cause for whole of the world, for the humanity, for the society, and for such causes, whenever given an opportunity, one should not miss it. So congratulations once again. So, like, if we talk about, basically I being the woman, and that to a Bharatiya woman, I'm a mother, I am a wife, I am a daughter. And if I talk about our Bharatiya culture, Bharatiya Sanskriti, we know that the importance of the water is so much. Right from the beginning, we are being taught. In our Veds also, the importance of water is there, that we must respect. We must respect these natural elements. We have always been taught to worship them, whether we talk about the water, we talk about the air, we talk about the Agni, all those are 5 elements if you talk about. So if you are the world globally, when that these vital elements of our Mother Earth are, they are not respecting it. What we saw the how everything is getting contaminated, whether we talk about the air, how the resources are being depleting. It is just the exploitation of these resources. So If I talk about the water, say, the respect for the water is there in every religion. Say, we talk about Sanatan, we talk about Islam, we talk about Christianity, each and every religion, they tell you about the importance of the water. No ritual in our religion, any of the religion, is complete without the usage of the water. So this is, I can say, like our human body, it is composed of 60% of water. And we know when this balance of water is not proper in the body, we suffer from the dehydration, and dehydration can lead to the death of a person. So same thing, I think our earth is also going through. When we see that the water bodies in any form, whether we talk about the glaciers, whether we talk about the rivers, whether we talk about the ponds or the wells, when we are not respecting them, we are exploiting them, they are slowly and slowly, they are finishing their existence. All right. So like in our culture, if you talk about Bharat, we consider rivers as a mother. Like we call our earth also mother. We consider rivers also our mother. There are shlokas in our Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Ved which call rivers mother. And I think no child should exploit mother. Mother is to be respected. Mother is to be loved. And that thing should be taught to the children in the school right from the beginning, right from the pre-nursery. We teach everything. We teach about all the modern development indexes. That's great. But we need to teach them that how you have to respect these things as your own mother. They have to be taught that you have to plant a tree in the form of your brother or sister or any relation which you love. So when you're going to plant that tree in the name of your relation, you are going to take care of that tree. You will not allow anybody to cut that tree. And that one single tree is going to help you out. If we know that how the cycle goes on, I do not want to discuss here. But that respect has to be put in the child right from the beginning. And I think that is being missing in today's date. That emphasis should be there. They should think that if you're not going to respect these things, then definitely they are going to miss this beautiful earth in the future. We talk about the future time and we think like we are going to moon or we are planning to go to the Mars. What about your own earth? And this has to be understood, you know, by these so-called developed economies like USA and the China and the Russia, you know, so on and so forth. Like if I talk about the global warming, so India stands 5th in the ranking. And who are the toppers? Toppers are USA, toppers are second position China, third position Russia, then comes the Brazil, and then comes the India. And if I talk about the quality of the water, India stands 120th position in 122 countries. So we really have to work hard on it. We know that billions of people, they are dependent on the water resources. If they are finished, then existence is finished. If you talk about the glaciers, glaciers are like water tank. They supply water to the rivers. And from these rivers, you know, we get sustained. That is why if we talk about the water, we see Trinity in them. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. The one who creates, the one who sustains, and one which destroys. And see the water in these three forms, and you will see that how it is being justified. So when this balance is not maintained, then definitely the results are horrifying. And I think still people are not able to understand it. That is why I am congratulating Kerala Public School to pick up this topic. UNESCO has to declare 21st March as a Glaciers Day, Water Day, because the things are very alarming. If I talk about our own nation, Sangeeta ji and Lakshmi ji, it is being said that by the end of this century, we are going to lose almost 60 to 65% of our glaciers. Just imagine what will be the outcome. Floods, droughts. We saw the, last year only, we saw the horrific floods which came in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh as well. The result of the global warming, melting of the glaciers. Who can forget about the Kedarnath tragedy? So, and if I talk about whole of the world, I mean, just see how the glaciers are being melted. If you talk about the Tashkent, almost 60% of the glaciers are almost melted.
Yes.
So, I mean, government definitely is taking so many steps. Any government which is going to come in power in any of the country, I will say, they will take these steps and they should take these steps. But at the same time, the duty of the citizens is also necessary. Because, you know, in policies and schemes can come. N number of schemes are there. We know it very well, that groundwater water management thing, then Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Namami Gange, then irrigation census. You know, these all steps are being taken by the Jal Shakti ministry.
Yes.
The end result is going to come when the citizens are going to participate. They will understand the responsibility as well. So if you talk about our country, if you talk about our own government, in 2021, the Glasgow summit, we know, India pledged that it will achieve net zero emission by 2070. So government is going to work. But at the same time, the citizens also, they should understand. They should not think, okay, this is not my duty. How it is going to matter if I don't do that? My neighbor can do that. So neighbor is going to think, oh, how it is going to matter if I don't do? My neighbor can do that. So by 2030, India commits to reduce carbon intensity by 45%. And it is working to get 50% cumulative electric power capacity from non-fossil fuel by 2030. So it is good, like we see so many EV vehicles on road now. And Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji, our Prime Minister, who is really very serious about the global warming, you know, he has introduced the Panchamrit framework, which outlines the 5 commitments, and I'm going to spell them out. Number 1 is achieving a non-fossil energy capacity of 500 gigawatts by 2030. Second one is meeting 50% of energy requirement from renewable sources by 2030. Reducing carbon intensity by 45% by 2030. Then cutting projected greenhouse gas emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. Promoting LIFE initiative aimed at sustainable living. LIFE stands for Lifestyle for Environment. So whether we talk about all the steps which are being taken by the Modi Sarkar here in the center, Jal Jeevan Mission, so providing neat and clean, good water in every tap, in every house is there. But water is required for that to, like you want water in your tap. It has to come from the rivers. And that has to be taught to the children. You know, why I give importance to the schooling? Because, you know, these are the saplings which are being implanted. And if they're implanted in a proper way, with good culture, with good values, they are going to be the great citizens of a great country.
Absolutely.
So I have to say that we have got fantastic glaciers in our country, and Siachen is one of the, though we know Siachen for the war, but Siachen is the biggest glaciers. Then we have got the Gangotri, Yamunotri, Zemung, Barasingh. These are some of the glaciers in our country, but they are melting. So they are alarming. So, and it is being said that by 2050, our population of our country's population is going to be somewhere around 1.7 billion. Imagine this country can sustain 35 crores of people in a happy mode.
Yes.
So, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yeah, you are.
Right, because my frame has got frozen.
Frozen. Yes.
So, imagine 1.7 billion. And if I talk about the water, it is going to be 16% of the population of the, if we compare it to the world population, 16% contribution will be from our country. And if I talk about the water, then we possess only 4% of the world's fresh water. How
Yes.
this are going to be in the future? This is alarming, very, very alarming. So, Sangeeta,
Yes.
I just have to say this thing that, yes, together we can make a change. And
Absolutely.
India being, a very forcefully developing power, we have to do and we have to sustain such a humongous population. And we are challenging USA and the China economy. So we are doing a whole lot of development in our nation, but at the same time we need a balance.
Yes.
We need development and at the same time conserving our natural resources. Then only we can see the glaciers. Then only people can go for the skiing holidays and all. No
Yes.
glaciers, no water, no skiing holidays.
Yes. And basically, both go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
That is why the panel of speakers that we had, they were addressing different sectors and how they are looking at the climate crisis that we are going through, particularly pertaining to glacier melting and water. So, which is the occasion that we are trying to address today. And on that note, I would ask Mr. Lakshmi Ravinder to conclude with a few, with your thoughts on this.
Very true that it's the need of the hour that students who are the future of our country and the world are made aware about the need of preserving and conserving the environment as it is, and plant more trees and respect conserving water and energy, because nowadays the new generation sometimes forget to switch off fans and lights and turn off taps. So through schools we can do a lot of things like awareness, spreading awareness through planting trees and teaching them about energy conservation and about using of solar energy. And as we all know that, these plantation drives now are promoting Miyawaki forests and sacred groves. So it will be a wonderful initiative from the government side and a collaboration with government and schools to make the students and the people aware at large, so that we have a future which is bright, where we have plenty of water, light, and fresh air to breathe. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. So, Mr. Rishi, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We'll begin with a brief introduction. Rishi Kapoor is an AI researcher, author, and entrepreneur specializing in functional AI strategy industries. With 16 plus years of experience, he has pioneered AI-powered solutions through Magic AI and authored several books on AI. His research focuses on cognitive neuroscience, ethical AI, and sustainability, driving global tech innovations. Good morning, sir. Welcome to us again.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be back again and meeting you all again. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Sangeeta ji and Kerala Public Schools for this wonderful opportunity. So today, I will talk about a bit diverse way of using AI in revolutionizing climate change management and the protection of our ice sheets. So that means compared to yesterday's, there will be some more information, some more strategies, a much broader topic. So I know we are already late in the timing, so I'll be focusing on that.
Please continue. No,
Yeah.
Please focus.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I would like to go deeper into some of the AI-powered climate change management, AI-enhanced models. So for example, we will be talking about, let's say, predictive climate models. So that means the deep learning or the machine learning models, which we can use to actually measure the temperature, precipitation, and the ice sheet melting predictions. So that is something which we can actually enhance, because currently they are not that many models or that many RAG models which can actually predict the ice sheet melting. So that is something we can look into it. Secondly, I'll talk about machine learning models. So that means gathering massive data sets from satellites, as some of our other speakers talked about the importance of satellite data, sensor monitoring, sensors, and historical records, which will provide early warning systems for policymakers, such as our earlier guests. So this is something which we can actually look into. Secondly, the most important part that I feel is the carbon emission tracking and reduction, as it was talked about by Mr. Amit Sawhney. And for that, I suggest using AI-powered analytics. So that means the industries and nations can actually monitor carbon dioxide compositions and emissions and retention in real time, which is actually available, but not to that sort of strength or that sort of efficacy. So that's what I recommend. Then we look into the wildfire and drought protection. So that means that how we can actually predict potential patterns in temperature and vegetation changes, which can help predict wildfires or droughts before they escalate. And that can affect the glaciers as well. So I think these proactive measures will help to protect ecosystems and water supplies. So, so that was about the AI-powered climate change. And something important that I would like to talk about today is basically what does the data sets and how can we actually fulfill the needs and the gaps of the missing data points that are present in today's fast-changing world. So what AI can do is actually improve the real-time monitoring and forecasting data, which is very much inconsistent in today's time. So that means we can look at the ecosystem and also the carbon emission data, as well as the behavioral data from different sort of the workings of the glaciers and how they actually create, and the weather management systems. So a lot of data can be actually extracted from the meteorology systems, weather systems, and also we have to look at the comprehensive global emissions data that is missing, and AI can help with that and to make it more granular, more real-time, and also to generate accurate predictive models. And that is why it is very important that the data is consistent. And the other data that are missing in today's world is the longitudinal climate data, which is actually provided only in short terms. So we have to actually look at multiple temperature and atmospheric carbon dioxide to actually find out the exact and long-term data in terms of the ice cap volume, soil moisture, and forest health. And then the other data that is not up to the mark, that as our doctors were talking about earlier, about the advanced satellite and remote sensing data. So that data is already used, but the high resolution images are still missing. The multispectral data is actually not up to the mark, and AI can actually resolve that by actually refining it and using different AI models or machine learning models, such as deep learning models, which are called like GANs, which actually takes the actual image and creates a similar looking image for data gathering purposes. Just like images, AI can create your AI duplicate, right? And that, how does that do? It's actually using GAN model. So that means it's a generative AI model that actually looks at the current image and processes a similar image. And that can be really useful for remote sensing data. And lastly, economic and climate impact integration data is actually insufficient. So that means that we have to actually extract more feedback from economic models, such as climate risk assessment, and also from financial sectors. And then we can actually look at the real-time environmental hazard data, which is more critical, like natural disasters data, such as floods, it's often fragmented. So that means that the data has to be actually handled in real time, refined, and regenerated using an AI model. And it could be anything. I would recommend using the RAG model because that will actually generate a more up-to-date, accurate, and recent data. So, so that's what I feel which is missing these days. Thirdly, I would like to talk about a bit of geoengineering. So we talked about geoengineering last time, but this time I would like to actually expand on it a bit more. So that means that I would like to put your attention towards like the AI enhanced Earth system models. So that means you can create dynamic simulations of the climate change scenarios for students to actually look at or analyze firsthand how the Earth system works through the simulation. Then secondly, I would like to talk about is the AI-driven weather forecasting. So currently, the weather forecasting is using the old systems and using past historical data based on that, projecting future weather. So if we utilize machine learning models, we can use recurrent neural networks, which actually predict extreme weather events more accurately. So that means we have to develop real-time predictive analytics to monitor atmospheric conditions for cloud seeding and hurricane mitigation. And that means currently it is not fully applied. Only in US and few European countries it has been applied. Then what we can do is the very important part that we talked about earlier is the solar radiation management. So that means, again, taking the solar data, train that deep reinforcement learning models and learning data to determine the best aerosol injection strategies to actually make the air more pure and less carbon dioxide. So we can actually create a simulation, which we can create a simulation and do the geoengineering interventions, which can actually not impact the current systems. So it's like a prototyping. And I feel that would be very helpful in solar radiation management. I remember we talked about carbon emission management and carbon footprints and blue carbon. So something more on that is basically how can we use AI to actually optimize the relevant materials for maximum carbon dioxide absorption efficiency. So that means that we have to automate air capture units with AI-controlled robotic systems. So that means the AI system can actually automatically enhance the direct air capture of carbon dioxide and without losing much of the carbon dioxide from the air that is currently happening. And then we have the carbon utilization optimization, which means basically using electrochemical and catalytic conversion systems to enhance carbon dioxide to fuel transformation. So that means that AI can actually help in terms of implementing that sort of a model to automate that conversion system, which is currently happening with some human-machine teaming. And also, lastly, we can actually talk about the AI for methane hydrate management, which is not much talked about. But again, I would say that using deep learning-based geospatial data, geophysical models, we can actually predict methane hydrate stability and prevent methane leakage as well. And that all means that we have to train the AI model in the RAG part of it rather than LLM part of it, so that the generation of the content and the data and the outcome or the result or the report is more accurate, efficient, up to date, and as accurate as the medical data. Because the reason I say that, because I've tested the RAG model with the LLM model in a medical setting as well. So that means I tried to pass a medical exam using the LLM model and I failed. And when I used the RAG model, I passed. So that means that there's a substantial difference in terms of how the models are trained and what sort of data is fed into the systems. That's why RAG models are pretty expensive and harder to train, harder to maintain, and harder to actually deploy, basically. So so that was that. In the end, I would like to talk about like what does the future hold in terms of where we are going with that, like future directions when we talk about the AI for glacier management or glacier protection or the climate change, basically. So I would say that we have to develop ethical geoengineering solutions. So that means all the AI models that are resting in the cloud could be dangerous if they are not well maintained or well used or well implemented, because it can cause natural disasters. So we have to be really careful in that. Well trained and well practiced and well tested models should be used. We have to build AI powered global partnerships, right people with the right companies to actually enhance the AI supported policy frameworks. And also, we have to keep in mind that AI is good and bad, and it's not only do or die. It's actually a global transformation force for sustainable future. So that means that though it is so helpful, it must be used with full caution, because going into the wrong hands, that can actually create more destruction than achievements. And also, I would like to say that we must keep on using the machine learning and deep learning models pretty regularly, because the thing is, as you know, that all the AI models are being changed and updated every other month. So if you're using an old system or old model, or the whole weather system will be in haphazard. So that is very, very critical for future direction. Yeah, and also I noted one of the points that I think Mr. Amit was talking about, how to manage the social media and the devices for the school kids. So I would like to mention that AI can be very well used for that. So that means that we can actually implement in a blanket way to all the devices. If we are giving devices to the students, we can implement content block feature through AI. So that means that it will be a network level filtering. That means, for example, if you're using an intranet in your school, that will be implemented on the intranet, so that no matter what app or what phone they are using, they won't be able to access any critical sites which should not be visited. Device management software, that means that teachers can have control, or the parents can have control on their devices by using some AI softwares such as Net Nanny and Bark. So they're free basically, and they can be installed. Lastly, we can actually implement some behavior analysis AI software in the devices. So that means that parents and teachers can actually look at the data and then actually stop them from using it. And then lastly, we can use facial and eye tracking AI, which is also used in the exam systems, like online exam systems, where you can actually track the eye movement and finger tracking and where they're going and where they're not, and you can get a real-time report in front of you. And that you can implement as well. And then normal softwares like, where you cannot install certain apps automatically, you implement that as well. So these are some of the ways that you can control. And also in Australia, they have put a ban on social media for under 16-year-old school kids.
Okay.
Most recently, yeah. So I think you can follow that.
Rishiji, it was great listening to you. In fact, when I started the meeting today morning, in fact, I expressed to the audience that, till yesterday, I thought AI was, a big tool to kind of contain, climate change, but only to realize that AI also contributes to global warming.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So if you could just speak a line on that, and then, we could wind up.
Yeah, sure. So for the global warming, what AI models have been used previously have been kind of failing. So that means what we have to do is actually follow a new system which is recently developed by China. It's like DeepSeek, and it's also used in terms of gathering the global warming data automatically, and then also then we input that data into the RAG model, and then what RAG model does, it actually provides a way forward on how to actually restrict global warming. So that means it all depends on the historical data that we have currently present. But the thing is, the data currently which is available is inconsistent, is incomplete, and also that means we have to first find out the validity of the data, and also then putting that data in the what do you say, like NASA and European Space Agency is doing, which means that they have developed their own global warming models, AI models, where you can actually see the projections in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And also they actually talk about the trend analysis that is not available at the moment. So that means that we can look at the anomalies to actually predict the heat waves, and also the simulations of global warming, like bushfires. In Australia, bushfires is very common, like in Melbourne and Sydney. And for that purpose, they were unable to contain it as efficiently as, let's say, some other countries, like in Middle East or some of the European countries. So because of the lack of advanced current machine learning and deep learning models for policies and checking the trend analysis. And also, lastly, I would like to say is using the smart grids, which means that we can actually look at the energy fluctuations in the atmosphere before actually a big global warming event is going to happen, like bushfires, for example. And to actually prevent that, we can actually deploy policies and support to actually stop that or mitigate that or reduce it. So yeah, that's what I have actually looked into it previously. Yeah.
Great. I understand that.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to introduce Mr. Ganesh Bang, a visionary leader and expert in technology-driven sustainability and innovation. With a strong background in digital transformation and strategic solutions, he has been instrumental in shaping cutting-edge advancements across industries. Today, he joins us to share his insight on leveraging technology for a sustainable future, offering valuable perspective on the roles of innovation in tackling global challenges. Welcome, Mr. Ganesh.
Yeah, thanks for that intro. First of all, I would like to call myself as a common human being who is trying to protect the nature, nothing more than that. So all these new jargons, right? Like whatever we talk about technologies, whatever, like IoTs and all those things. So finally, everything rests in the common things, what we do, right? So as we are talking here on this platform, right, for National Water Day as well as first World Glaciers Day. And I'm talking from Bengaluru, which is also known as Silicon Valley of India. So I'm working here in Bangalore, especially in the water and energy sector. But I'm a software engineer by profession, the ecologist by passion, as I call myself. So everyone would have read about the 2022 water crisis, what Bengaluru went through. It was almost on the verge of becoming another Cape Town. Okay. So apartments were running out of water, hotels were running out of water, malls were running out of water. So at that point in time, right, so there were a lot of solutions being thought about. One of the major solution was like, hey, get the water from somewhere else, like get it from the dams which are built far away, which our government generally does. But if we think in a common sense, right, so Bangalore is a city which is one of the wettest metropolitan cities in India. On an average, we receive about 1500 mm of rainfall. And if we just extrapolate it to 1000 square kilometers area, whatever Bengaluru has, that technically means that the rains, whatever we receive, is the amount of water we consume annually, right? The rains, what we receive in just 60 days is what we actually need for one whole year. But what we are doing is instead we are just relying on technologies to bring the water from faraway places and extract water from as deep as 4,500 feet. Other day I was in a similar platform, I was joking to somebody, hey, we are drilling so much depth of bore wells that it is almost reaching Chicago. We have no limits on the depth what we are going. The new trend says we are drilling 4,500 feet just to get fossil water, right? But instead of that, if we think about nature around us, if we are able to catch the rainfall, like our PM says, catch the rain wherever it falls, whenever it falls, right? So what I have been advising the people of Bangalore is, you have huge amount of rooftops. which can act as your catchment area for the rainfall, hold the rains, filter it. There are good amount of technologies available which will convert the rainwater right then and there into potable grade water, store it, and use it throughout the year. And my apartment, Metropolis Guru Kripa, where I stay, we are able to run our apartment just with rainwater for about 7 to 8 months in a calendar year. Right? So just think about it. If I am able to enhance my storage capabilities, I'll probably be able to run my apartment entire year. But instead of that, if you think about what's happening today in Bangalore is, per day, 210 crore liters of water is pumped from KRS dam into Bengaluru city. Right? I'm talking about 210 crore liters per day, and another 180 crore liters is extracted out of groundwater, which is through tube wells. Now think about the energy quotient. To get the 210 crore liters from the Kaveri basin into Bengaluru city, the water traverses 125 kilometers and it climbs 2,000 feet in altitude, which is nothing but burning energy. We are talking about saving glaciers, right? So to save glaciers, we have to stop the global warming happening at our local levels. And water is one of the key contributors for the global warming, because water is energy. Every drop of water, every glass of water, whatever comes into Bengaluru city, has an energy, has a carbon quotient associated with it, right? It's not only about long distance water which comes from the rivers, even the water which we extract from the borewell. To extract 1 liter of borewell from some, say, 3,000 feet deep, we spend about 20 paisa worth of power. Again, this is also a huge source of global warming for a country like India, where most of the power is generated from those dirty coal. The Raichur thermal power station, which accounts for more than 50% of the power generated in Karnataka. So this water energy equation is very, very, very important. Instead of thinking deep, instead of thinking long, we should think about decentralizing the water. And one way of decentralizing is collecting the water right on your rooftop, converting it to potable water and using it back. This is one solution. Second solution, right? So as I told, 210 crore liters and 180 crore liters from the borewell, both together comprise about 400 crore liters of sewage being generated out of the Bengaluru city. Instead of thinking it as a waste, we should think it as a resource, right? We are sitting on a resource of more than 400 crore liter water, which is otherwise going into Vrishabhavati river and becoming Kangeri Nala. Like Bengaluru had 2 rivers, today both are carrying sewage. They don't have fresh water at all. So my apartment, in this apartment, we have devised a solution which will convert the sewage back into drinking water, which is IS 10,500 grade, and we can use it for all the potable applications. It's not only my apartment, a lot of malls, a lot of IT parks in Bangalore have adapted to this solution. So there are two sources of water. One is perennial source, which is sewage. We can convert it into drinking water. And one is seasonal source, which is monsoons. If held judiciously, can answer the quest of this particular city. And coming to the next important point, when we talk about water, we only talk about fresh water demand for households, but we conveniently forget something like the sectors which are having huge amount of huge amount of water, which is called as embodied water. Like, for example, we have agriculture, we have construction, infrastructure, then we have industries. Let me give you one example, right? So we are in the mode of constructing flyovers, huge apartments, towers, large IT parks. But for everything, the base material is water, because the concrete also needs water. Cement to concrete is nothing but like adding water to it and a lot of other materials. So a concrete has huge amount of embodied energy and embodied water. And like more than 50% of the fresh water is used for the construction sector. So just we have to think about it. When the treated water is readily available, does construction water warrant to be fresh water? Can't it be done using treated water, right? If we switch over to the treated water, just think about it, how much amount of fresh water we save and how much amount of energy we save because of the carbon water equation. Second sector, industries. Like yesterday I was talking to ma'am, and like we were talking about some of the steel factories, some of the rail factories around us, rail wheel factory, rail coach factory, Bemel, and all these things. For everything, for cooling, right, you require water. Like it's a steel. From iron ore to steel to cooling, for 1 ton of steel to be produced, you require at least 30 tons of water. right? So that's the equation. This doesn't warrant to be a fresh water when treated water is readily available. So industrialists who are listening to this particular episode, right, like we should think about switching over to the treated grade water instead of relying on fresh. And the third important thing, which is very close to my heart, and I'm talking to government about it, just surrounding Bangalore, it's a sugar bowl of Karnataka. We grow huge amount of sugar cane, right? And sugar cane, as you know, again, same equation, 1 ton of sugar cane requires about 16 to 17 ton of water. Same goes with paddy. Karnataka grows huge amount of paddy. You would have seen a lot of paddy fields where there is water stagnated whenever the paddy is growing. The equation says one ton of paddy, 22 ton of water. Should it be fresh water? We have seen governments construct the canals, right? Like Krishna right bank canal, left bank canal, the recent Srikakulam canal, whatever it is. It's all about fresh water to the agriculture. Does it warrant? I mean, the plants do not come back and say, hey, I need fresh water. Plants really thrive well with the treated water as well. So if we are able to switch these 3 sectors from fresh water into treated water, it will solve a lot of our water crisis, as well as it will slow down the melting of glaciers. I'm not saying I will be able to stop it completely, but I'm sure those who are listening over here are having knowledge of SDG 30, right? The Sustainable Development Goals 2030 laid down by the United Nations. One of the criteria says a city should not be relying on water source which is more than 30 kilometers away, right? Pre-1974, Bangalore was drinking only lake water. But 1974, our government came up with the idea, hey, let's get water from Kaveri and make us water positive. And that has actually screwed up. What have we have done? We have made our lakes into dumping yard. Our rivers have become nalas, right? No life in that. No life in the rivers, 2 rivers flowing into Bangalore, right? It has become like sewage carriers, and finally it drains into Kaveri, and eventually it drains into Bay of Bengal, which goes and mixes into Indian Ocean. And then we talk about plastic pollution, right? Which is not until and unless we stop doing this. See, I have been talking to governments, but governments don't want to do this for their own reasons, right? They only care about putting the infrastructure, right? And I don't want to use more words than this, but yeah, they don't want to do this in lack of, first they lack understanding, and they only want infrastructures to be created. So that is one part. And they all want is a centralized solution. But what I have been successful as in my 5-year-long journey with water and energy, the more the decentralized you are, more the better for the environment. So I just want to end this particular thing with a small little quote from our ancient epics, which, like, our India relies on a lot of ancient epics, and Manusmriti is one among them. Our elders have clearly said this: Prithvivyam Trini Ratnani, Jalam Annam Subhashitam, Mudhaihi Pashana Khandeshu Ratna Samnya Vidiyate. I'll just quickly translate that for you, for those who don't understand Sanskrit. So it means there are only 3 gems on this planet, right? One is water, one is food, and one is the good deeds you do. Rest all are just the stones. Please don't consider stones as the gems and diamonds. Just think about their wisdom. Say, couple of thousands of years back, they have thought about this and they have written this beautifully. Now it's our time to take it forward. And I'll drop my contact details over here. If you want to discuss more, any of us can connect with me, and I'll be more than happy to take the conversation forward. And yeah, thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Ma'am, you're muted.
Our director is here, Mr. Sharat Chandran. Sir, would you like to interact with our special guest today?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, Mr. Ganesh, your session has been the most real-time session. Okay. And very doable. In fact, I would suggest Chief Sangeeta to plan out a session with the industries of Jamshedpur, because he specified on some very relevant, approaches. And that is something which we need to look into and take it forward. Maybe through Rotary, we could have a session conducted for Mr. Ganesh.
Yes.
I think, it's great, having you here, Mr. Ganesh, and this is a beginning to a very fruitful collaboration.
Yeah, actually, I want to add 1 minute just additional. So I'm also involved with Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, who runs Himalayan Institutes of Alternatives in Ladakh. And he always says this: friends of nature are friends of Ladakh. That has a very deep meaning, right? So
Yes.
if you are a friend of nature, the Ladaks will melt at a slower rate, right? So that's how I am connected to World Glacier Day.
Oh, fantastic. Lovely.
Next, we have a case study being presented by the students of KPS schools.
Did you know glaciers are melting faster than ever? Over the last few decades, rising global temperatures have caused glaciers to shrink at an alarming rate. What does this mean? Rising sea levels, disrupted weather, and loss of fresh water for millions. Entire ecosystems are at risk. But what if we could change the story? What if we could turn stories of water crisis into stories of hope? The future is in our hands. Act now. Planet.
Today, I want to take you on a journey of crisis, resilience, and innovation. The story of Cape Town's water crisis, known as Day Zero, the day taps would run dry, is not just a lesson for one city, but a warning and an inspiration for the entire world. Imagine waking up to a city where no water flows from the taps. This was nearly Cape Town's reality in 2017, when dam levels dropped to a critical 20% compared to previous years due to severe drought and high water consumption. Faced with disaster, Cape Town took swift action. The city enforced a daily water limit of just 50 liters per person. Residents were encouraged to take 90-second shower, reuse water for flushing toilets, and minimize all non-essential water use. Citizens were constantly reminded that every drop counts. Households installed low-flow taps, grey water recycling systems, and water-efficient appliances. During the crisis, wastewater recycling mainly included treating domestic sewage and industrial wastewater for non-drinking purposes. Wastewater recycling had an essential role in reducing overall water demand. Groundwater extraction was one of the key emergency strategies used to supplement dwindling surface water supplies. The city tapped into underground aquifers to provide additional water and reduce reliance on dams. To reduce reliance on rainfall, the city invested in desalination plants, purify salt water by using processes like reverse osmosis or thermal evaporation. In this process, the water is pushed at high pressure of 60 bar through 36,000 reverse osmosis semi-permeable membrane, which acts as a filter for the salt and minerals and allow only fresh water to pass through it. Desalination plants have the capacity to filter 2 megaliters of saline water per day into the city's water network. Thanks to these combined efforts, Cape Town successfully avoided Day Zero. The graph shows an increasing trend in water conservation efforts, usage of infrastructure in water conservation measures. By 2019, dam levels had risen again to 80% and water consumption remained lower than pre-crisis levels. The Cape Town water crisis was a wake-up call. It showed the world that with determination and unity, even the most severe water crisis can be overcome. The Cape Town water crisis success story has been authorized by Zandia Limburg, mayoral committee member for water and waste services at City of Cape Town. Ladakh, a cold desert in northern India, has always faced water scarcity due to its extreme climate. However, as global temperatures began to rise and glaciers started retreating, the water crisis in Ladakh worsened. For centuries, Ladakh's farmers depended on natural glaciers, but these glaciers melted too late, while crops needed water in early summer. This mismatch led to crop failures and food insecurity. Additionally, shorter summers meant a very limited growing season, making timely irrigation essential. To solve this problem, Chewang Norfel, a retired civil engineer, developed artificial glaciers, an innovative low-cost method of storing and releasing water at the right time for farming. Using simple and cost-effective methods, he built small dams and stone embankments to divert and freeze water in winter. These frozen reserves acted as man-made glaciers, melting just in time for irrigation in early summer. Artificial glaciers are built during the winter months. Fresh water is piped from a higher altitude downslope. The water is then channeled from the base of the ice stupa into a vertical pipe. The water is then released through a sprinkler at the top, which collects and freezes on a net-covered dome. The water freezes and forms huge stalagmite, which melts during warm weather to release water. The artificial glaciers ensures year-round availability of water, prevents crop failures, mitigates glacier retreat, creates jobs and sustains livelihood. A news report from Down to Earth authorizes Ladakh's innovative artificial glaciers or ice stupas as a lifeline for communities facing water scarcity. Imagine standing on a breathtaking Swiss glacier surrounded by endless white ice. Now, imagine that same glacier disappearing within your lifetime. Switzerland glaciers have lost over 50% of their volume in the last century, 10% loss in just 2 years. This is the reality Switzerland is facing. The compared image of glaciers as in 2006 and 2018 gives us a clear view of its receding state. Rising temperatures are turning once permanent ice into water, threatening freshwater supply to entire ecosystem. Area of glaciers has decreased from 1800 kilometers square to 800 kilometers square till 2025. However, their melts has increased the area of glacial lake from 6 hectares in 1991 to 16 hectares in 2015. But instead of just watching their glaciers melt away, the Swiss scientists came up with a surprising and innovative solution: giant reflective blankets, the cool solution of wrapping glaciers like a gift. Polyester fleece or geotextiles are used in making reflective blankets. Aluminum coated fabrics increase reflectivity, bouncing more solar radiation away from ice. Silicone coating makes it water resistant. The blanket insulates the ice to stabilize its cooler temperature. They are usually white to reflect light. The use of these resulted in the loss of 70% less ice as compared to unprotected areas. The success stories around the world are true examples of resilience, innovation, and hope. At the same time, it also makes us understand that the ultimate cause behind retreating glaciers is climate change, which can only be mitigated as a global community. Above all, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. So, let's wake up and change our actions to sustainable practices and stand together in protection of the nature's paradise, the glaciers. Thank you.
So finally, we reached the end of the session. Let's look at the key takeaways of the session. Today's session was nothing short of inspiring, shedding light on one of the most pressing challenges of our time, climate change. As we stand at the crossroads of industrialization and sustainability, the call for urgent climate action has never been louder. The dialogue underscored the need to democratize climate conversations, bringing in them from policy tables to classrooms and households, ensuring that future generations see sustainability not just as a necessity, but as a career path. A powerful message echoed through the discussion: climate action cannot be a solo performance. It demands a symphony of efforts. Government initiatives, while crucial, need support of every individual, industry, and institution. sustainable irrigation techniques, rainwater harvesting, and responsible urban water management were highlighted as the key to securing our most precious resource. The session emphasized decarbonization and carbon neutrality as the new global imperatives. Renewable energy, particularly solar power, took center stage as the way forward alongside exciting opportunities for international collaboration in sustainable agriculture and climate-friendly technology advancements. We also delved into cutting-edge innovations, particularly in climate intelligence and satellite technology. With over half of environmental data being collected from space, nanosatellites are becoming game changers in early disaster detection and environmental monitoring. The role of AI-powered analytics in predictive modeling, geoimaging, and climate resilience were also explored, signaling the future of data-driven sustainability. The discussion was not just about technology and policy, it also carried a profound human element. The alarming rate of glacial meltings was addressed along with the crucial role of space agencies in tracking these changes. Traditional wisdom was woven into modern solutions, reminding us that nature has always been our greatest teacher. From honoring water as sacred in ancient texts to embracing circular water usage in industries, the message was clear. Sustainability is not just about conservation, but about respect, responsibility. From addressing media exposure for students to championing AI-driven environmental management, the session culminated into one undeniable truth. Climate action is not an option, it is an obligation. The road ahead requires a global, multidisciplinary, and profound human approach to securing a sustainable future. I would now like to move on to my closing address. As we conclude this enlightening session, I extend my deepest gratitude to the Glaciers team and UNESCO for providing us this remarkable platform. My heartfelt thanks goes out to our distinguished speakers who joined us from across the globe to lend their expertise to cause that is nothing short of a monumental for our planet. A special acknowledgement to our Director, Sir, Mr. Sharat Chandran, whose unwavering support and dedication continues to drive meaningful change. With that, I bring this program to a close, leaving you all with the thought. Our actions today will define the world tomorrow. Let us move forward with purpose, passion, and an unbreakable commitment to safeguarding our planet. Thank you all.